you getting yourself ready for our show?
Alrighty, Jigs and Bigs fans, here we are, a brand new episode of Jigs and freaking Bigs, and it has been a week of crazy action in our multi-species scavenger hunt style tournament. We've got information about that. I have been hitting it hard. I've been out 4 different trips this week within a 3-day window, and it's just been intense. We got, who the fuck is Joe Brown back at it? He's been out a couple times this week. We're going to talk to him. He's also got some tournament updates from his Wednesday night league tournament that he's part of. We're interested to know what's been going on, what's up, and Sean the Fisherman is with us, of course. This week, we have a couple of things that we want to talk about in FTG, and you know what?
They're all jet ski related.
Buckle up. I'm a little bit fired up about this, man. It involves some technology and some ass-hattery. You're not going to want to miss it. In Bait of the Week this week, we're going to be talking about chatterbaits. Now, Sean the Fisherman says he can talk at length about chatterbaits, and I believe the man. Chatterbaits are one of those presentations that almost everybody throws, but what are our preferences? What do we think about them? How do we like our retrieves? All kinds of stuff like that. And with some news out of ICAST recently, is there some kind of a change happening for the chatterbait? We'll find out. We got all that and a whole lot more. Jigs and Bigs, high quality good stuff for you coming up right after this. All right, here we are. It's Jigs. It's Bigs. We're here. Deal with it. It's one hell of an intro.
Do random passerby still ask you which one of you is Jigs and which one of you is Bigs? I still get that every now and again.
I haven't gotten that one in a little while, and I'm a little offended because I think they're making an assumption that I'm Bigs. I think it's a fat thing. And I mean, you know, I own it, but hey, it is what it is. I think a lot of people, that's what it is. I had a crazy occurrence this week that was pretty fucking cool, to tell you the truth. One of the days I had gone out fishing at one of these local bodies of water, I had not one, but 2 listeners of the show meet me, one of which we've had on as a guest before. I bumped into Dave Shade and Jeff Caldwell. And they were
right. You mentioned that. You called me.
Yeah, they were skulking around looking for bowfin, as was I and my counterpart. We'll have information about that, but it was great to see them. That was the wrong button, but I always love to engage with folks on the water. And so Dave was walking along the bank, and he looks at me, he says, "Hey, are you Bobby?" And I was like, "Yeah." And I couldn't even see him actually at this point because he was kind of like camouflaged by the trees up on the bank. And he goes, "Roast beef?" And I was like, "Who else?" And he told me, I was like, "No shit." I mean, they're freaking way out. They were like out in East freaking Cupcake. That was a ride for them. And it's from the way it sounds like their day went a lot like mine that day. You might notice I don't have a bowfin on the board. Let's see, who should start with the week in review? First off, overall, how was your week overall, guys? Fishing aside, how was everything?
I had a good week.
That's good.
I got out a couple times. Shit done around the house I need to do, work.
It's not bad.
You know, the American dream.
It is the American dream, isn't it? Damn it. It really is. How about you, Sean? How's things?
I still haven't hit the water, man. I'm
Yep.
more than likely going to be gearing up for a little outing in the near future. Something I kind of had pre-planned, but
there you go.
No, it's been all housework. I mean, if you want, we can make this whole episode a fucking home improvement show. We could talk about wiring. We could talk about landscaping. We could talk.
Huh? I'll build a fence where just my eyes look over it. I'll be Wilson. It'll be great.
There you go. You'll be nude behind it. It'll be fantastic.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. There'll be a bizarre hole cut out in the fence, and you'll be like, "Don't do what I think you're going to do, Wilson."
The roast beef glory hole in the fence? Is that? I mean, we're there already? Come on. No, I've had it. I've had it pretty slow this week. Just recovering from the vacation and getting shit done around the house, and immediately jumped right back into a million appointments and this and that and the other thing. But I think my self-imposed exile from the water will probably be ending pretty soon. I know I had said that 2024 would probably be it, but I think I've reframed things enough in my mind to give it a shot.
Yeah,
and not go out and fish with the
like the previous agenda or the previous.
Yeah, really with the same
saddlebags
mindset that I've the same mindset and the same stress that I've had for 3 years. I think I'm going to be easing back in and hopefully finish off 23 on a high note and start 24 on that same note.
Hey, I try to start every new year on a high note, if you know what I'm saying. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
This is a show for kids. Jigglers. Yeah, that's good. That is good to hear. It is. And, I had a feeling that it wouldn't take very long before you could move puzzle pieces around to figure things out, which is a good thing. I was out last night with Paul, and we were talking about it. He's like, so Sean's not fishing, huh? What's going on? What's he going to do? I was like, yeah, dude, he changed his social media handles and stuff. They don't say anything about fishing anymore. It's like, it's kind of insane.
Yeah.
But it takes a lot of people, I think, by surprise, but they're at the same time, a lot of the feedback that I got from last week was a whole lot of, I can totally understand where Sean's coming from with all this. So that was a good thing. So, I mean, I know we had a couple of folks reach out directly, and that was awesome. And then a few had mentioned, in Just the Tip that they're like, oh, you got to keep fishing fun, man. It's important. So that's pretty badass.
Thanks to the people that did reach out. Again, I got another wave of people after the show came out last week and said,
yep.
Hey, man, is everything okay? Yes,
yeah, of
everything's
course.
Fine. I feel better than I have in years. It's all good. Got a lot of shit done. I'm all set. I'll probably be back on the water. It's okay.
Oh, yeah.
I'm good. Mentally, I'm good. I'm not going to hurt myself or anyone else.
Exactly. I'm not on some kind of watch. I still have my belt and shoelaces.
True.
It's okay.
Very true. It's all good. But thanks everyone for reaching out. I know it was kind of shocking. It was shocking to me, but it got to a point where things kind of built up and they were released. And I'm sure I'll ease back into the pastime that I've loved for most of my life.
Oh yeah,
we'll be fine.
So there's a couple of things that had gone on this week. I fished my ass off. I'm just going to dive in and I'll take it, from the beginning. So this week, I was, looking at the calendar. I'm like, okay, so we're circling the drain for July. It's starting to come to the end. And I had this short list of a handful of species that I was like, I feel pretty confident that I can get on these realistically and kind of make it happen, and put something together here. So at the beginning of the week, I basically had needed, did I talk last week about my pickerel? Yeah, I did. And the tattoo and all that stuff. Yep. So I needed a pike, a smallmouth. I needed a crappie, a carp, and a catfish were basically the 5 that I was looking for. And I crossed 3 of them off my list this week, which was amazing. It was absolutely nuts. So I had... I got to tell you, I think number one, the big thing with this body of water, or not with this body, with this series that we run each month, is that when you're looking at it from the scavenger hunt standpoint, the number one best thing that you can do is just pay attention to the species that are in the body of water that you're fishing. That's paramount. Because you can't, if you need a trout, you're not going to go to a pond that's not stocked or there's no natural trout in that area. So use your resources and figure out what's in there for species. So to break it all kind of down, I had, the show came out on Tuesday. I had gotten up early that morning, well, relatively early that morning, and I went to a body of water where I could check off a number of these species. And I had, I think I launched, it was 8:30 in the morning. It was a little bit later than I had wanted to. But I had gone out there essentially looking for pike, smallies, and crappie. I hooked into a pike, second or third cast, right off of the launch. And I got this pike up right near the boat, and I was grabbing the net and went to put the net in the water, and the pike took a dive down under the boat and then like turned around and came up, and my line went slack, and the jig just came right out of his mouth. So
did you play that pike out at all, or did you just get it to the boat?
He bit at, like, it was so close. And that's why I was like, all right, cool. I actually loosened up my drag a little bit to let him kind of run a little bit, but he turned back and the line went slack. I was like, fuck. So it was like, it was just out of my control, because that's what I was trying to do. He was actually a pretty decent size. I'll bet you he went 20 inches. So, and he was much like more formidable as far as like,
He was a girthy northern.
as opposed to what I turned in later in the week. So I see this fish, and, you know, line goes slack. He goes and just shakes off and takes off. I'm like, you son of a bitch. There was a guy who was fishing, I think with his grandson, off the dock that was by this body of water, and he saw it. So I had to stifle what I wanted to say so badly, because I was going to scream at this fucking fish. I was like, oh, there goes a point. But I was like, my plan was to go south and then fish based on the structure that I had been looking at before, knowing that I was looking really for smallmouth for the most part. So I went over and I was throwing a variety of baits, basically finesse swim bait and a Ned. And I had a spinnerbait tied on too, just because I know that typically pike and pickerel like flashy stuff. You know what I mean? We had a decent amount of wind, which gave me a little bit of confidence. And the cloud cover was like I would say barely partly cloudy. It was a pretty clear sky. And I managed to I got a couple of rock bass, you know, as I was basically just following this bank and casting shallow and then retrieving and covering as much water as I possibly could, just constantly keeping on the go. And I hooked into one smallie, measured that fish, immediately turned it in. I was like, okay, cool, there's a point. Awesome. At least this trip here, we've got 1 point now closer to the goal. And I go along my way, and I got to, you know, like, Sean, I know, especially you've fished a lot. You've seen some shit in nature. And, like, you know, you have those moments where you're just like, fucking nature is wild. Like, it just truly just takes your breath away completely. So I get down to the very end of this bank here, where it starts to get to a lot of properties with docks and things. And I'm fishing some of these docks, and I saw in the ballpark of like somewhere between like 16, 20, maybe even 25 decent sized carp, like schooling up to the point where it almost looked like an illustration from like a fantasy novel. You know what I mean? Like, I looked over and I was just like, this is wild. All these giant fish. And I know there's mirror carp in there. Patrick says it best. Damn nature, you crazy. Yeah, it's true. It's true. I was floored. I was like, this is wild. In fact, when I had left that dock that the gentleman and his grandson were fishing from, there was a guy who walked on, and he was throwing some baits for carp. And he was like, yeah, he's like, there's great carp in here. I was like, oh, I've seen them. He goes, have you seen any nearby around here? And I was like, yeah. I was like, just in this corner, I saw a giant. And he's like, oh, no shit, that's great. I told him about the pike, and he was like, trust me, man. He's like, there's pike all around here. You'll find them. So I go along my way. I see these carp. I fish for a little bit around some docks, and I'm not getting a damn thing. So I come back up, and I decide to fish the opposite side. I start casting out into deeper water and working a ledge coming up. I hooked into another smallmouth, a larger one. Already had my point, entered that fish. I'm like, I'm just going to release this fish and go. At this point, the sun was up pretty high, and I was feeling it. I'm like, all right, it's time to go. So I got my smallmouth, everything's good. In the back of my mind, I've still got this little compartment, like, maybe I'll be able to, you know, pick up this pike on the way back, because it's been a few hours. So I come back up, and I'm looking around this area, there's nothing. And I see a guy who's fishing big swim baits, like big swim baits, right off the dock, just like casting and reeling. And I go over to him, and I was like, hey, man, I don't want to, you know, get in your way. I was like, are you cool if I go over here? And he's like, yeah, no problem, man. I'm just tuning baits. I said, cool. It was Tom from Tom's Custom Baits. He messaged me after the fact, and he was like, holy shit, I didn't know. He's like, I'm glad you got on him. He saw one of the pictures that I had posted. So how you doing, Tom? Nice to meet you, kind of unofficially. But he gave me a tip over in one area specifically regarding crappie. And I don't know if he had listened to the show and maybe I'd mentioned or something, but he was like, yeah, he's like, they hold a lot of crappie right over in this one spot that you're looking for. So I'd gone over and I had my small fish killer. I had my beetle spin tied on. So I start throwing this out and I'm covering water. And I probably did about 20, 25 casts in this one area, sort of circling around this one rock pile. And they just wanted nothing to do with it. So in my mind, I had kind of already built a to-do list. My plan was I had a plan to fish on Wednesday for bowfin. Chrissy Radwilowitz and I had hit up a local spot, one of my regular haunts that has bowfin. And we went there. That's where we bumped into Jeff and Dave. And we fished for hours there, and I had nothing lined up on Saturday. So in the back of my mind, I go, well, I know that there's pike here, and I know that there's crappie here. And I'd done some research to find some spots that would lend themselves to success. And one of those bits of research, Sean, was just talking to you. But it got my head in the right direction. So I said, what I'm going to do on Saturday is I'm actually going to go out twice. I'm going to go out at the ass crack of dawn. And I should have looked in advance to see if there was a tournament on this lake or anything beforehand. I got crazy lucky. Nothing was going on. So I got out there early. There was one other kayak that was in the water, a wreck kayaker. And I had pretty much the lake to myself until the lake lice started kind of encroaching a little bit because we were expecting some thunderstorms. So, they got to get out there early to get it out of the way. Whatever it is that they're doing, they just got to get it out of the way. So
I like going fast.
That's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is. So, yeah, bunch of rock bass on Tuesday, a couple of smallies, pretty happy. The missed pike had me hopeful that things would turn around on Saturday. Then Wednesday, like I said, I went out for bowfin with Chrissy. I did eventually, the sun was just crazy. Like the heat on Wednesday was ridiculous. I was hurting and I was just frustrated. I'm like, you know what? I'm getting bit all over the place. So what I was doing looking for bowfin was I was throwing a Vega frog, a poppin' style frog. Because the areas where I've seen most bowfin, it hasn't been like super cheesed up mats or anything like that. Like there's weeds that will get up to the surface, but it's workable with a poppin' frog. And I wanted to work that frog really slow. And I probably got 20 swipes at that frog. And every time I did, I threw a stick bait to follow. Occasionally I might get a little tap on that stick bait. Maybe not. Speaking of Chrissy fishing, here she is. She's joining us. How you doing, Chrissy? I had gone into this like spiral in my head. I was like, okay, so I'm gonna just stick with this and keep throwing this because they were swiping at it, but they were just missing it or just like.
Were they pads, Bobby?
They weren't pads.
Was it open water?
It was more open water with submerged grass and like
Gotcha.
Some that would hit the surface. It was very very like if I threw like a 1/4 ounce Texas rig, it would go right through, right to the bottom.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
A lot of wood in these areas too, and I was like, you got to be kidding me. I'm like, so I'm just gonna keep at it. I'm gonna keep throwing it until it gets bit. I changed spots to another spot where I've seen bowfin in the past. I've had some experience with it. Same thing, just could not get bit. And I said to Chrissy, I was like, listen, I am just toast. I said, I'm going to call it. I got some stuff to do. I'm going to fish my way down to the launch and that'll do it. And that'll be it. I had one bite on a stick bait in the same area actually where I caught my one bowfin at this body of water. And it was one of these things where I felt the tap. The line didn't even there was no tension, and then it just let go, And I normally wouldn't bring this up, but something about this was odd. I decided to change stick bait colors. I was throwing a straight up green pumpkin Senko, and I decided I would switch something up that was a little bit more like broken up. So I threw that Fresh Baits stick bait with that custom color that they haven't released yet.
Yeah.
And so it was brand new. It wasn't marked up at all. But when it came back after this, it had these teeth marks that were not like a pike or anything and not like a bass, scraping it with that rough, those pads that they have. It was actually where the plastic was folded away, it would flap. And I'm like, all right, that might be something good. I'm going to give it a minute. I'm going to go back to this point, fish back down and see what happens. Well, right before I got to that spot, and at that spot, I never got another bite, but I did hook into a largemouth. It was like a 14-incher. Wouldn't do anything for the NE5 or anything like that, so release that. But at least, if nothing else, I was happy that I didn't take a skunk for the day. So at least my efforts were not, for nothing. Yeah, spoiler alert, didn't catch any bowfin. So then Saturday, I basically, in the back of my mind, I was like, so I'm going to take Thursday and Friday and just hang out. Friday, I had a great day. My wife and I went to go visit my cousin and his girlfriend at their place and lounged by the pool a little bit. Went with my oldest daughter. We had a good time, sharing stories, drinking some beers, relaxing. My cousin says to me, he goes, I have something that you might be interested in. And he had a one-person canoe. I told you about this, Sean.
You did.
And I told him, I was like, wow, well, that's a lifestyle change right there. And he goes, yeah, he's like, I figured you could use it for something. I was like, I'll tell you what. He's like, I told him, I was like, what do you want for it? He threw a number out there. I said, that is 100% doable. So now I have a single-person canoe. And primarily, I've got it for the girls. Like, if they want to come out while I'm doing some fishing or something like that, I've got that. Plus my Ascend, both of them could come out with me, which brings me to the trailer plan, which will, house all of this stuff. So there's a new custom trailer in the works. It's a project with Delirious, and it's going to be absolutely awesome when it's done and ready. It's going to be great. I'm psyched. So got that in the works, went out, did trivia that night, came home, went to bed as early as possible, and I slept like garbage. I really did. I tossed and turned a bunch, and I kept checking the weather because I knew that we had thunderstorms in the forecast for Saturday, relatively early too. Like, I think it was like they started to roll in at like 10 a.m. So I was like, and this lake up in the Berkshires is a sizable body of water. It's not enormous, but it's sizable, with only, the one launch that I'm, aware of. So I kind of wanted to be aware of what was going on. And perfect, to be totally honest, the area I was targeting was in the middle of the lake. Like, it's not like I was close to shore or anything like that. So I was like, we're getting out early. We're going for it. I happened to wake up. I forgot to set an alarm. I happened to wake up at 3 a.m. And half awake, I did the math, and I was like, I need to leave the house in 45 minutes. I got to make it happen. So I went and I took got my gear together, and I hit the road, launched. And like I said, there was only one kayak on that body of water. Headed over to the first spot that I wanted to hit and just hit it hard. Like, I combed over this area with a fine tooth comb. That was a chatterbait. And I was just basically looking for grass. That's what my goal was. Just looking for grass. I found it, and I was just ripping a chatterbait all over the place. Basically targeting grass for pike specifically. I caught so many smallmouth. I could not believe it. A number of them would grab my bait. They might shake off. I landed a bunch of them. They were again, just too small to make the NE5. I needed 15-inch or larger fish. Really, anything larger than 15, I'd throw in the NE5. I caught my first largemouth ever at this body of water. The first time I ever fished this body of water, I took a skunk. So I caught a decent largemouth. That was awesome. Had a ton of fun with it. I was throwing chatterbaits, finesse swim baits in some of the clearer areas, Ned rig creatures. The only thing that didn't work was any of the topwater that I had thrown. I wanted to take advantage and try throwing a big bait, see if I could get bit by something huge. So I threw good old Bruce Gillis over some weed beds. Conditions made me think that a big wake bait, that or a rat, would slay. We had like no wind. It was gorgeous out there. But again, no wind had me a bit concerned. The wind picked up a little bit, and I definitely, that's when I think most of my chatterbait bites were happening. I then had experimented a little bit and had gone to the West Bank and just followed some grass over there. I got a good thump on a swim jig, but wasn't able to connect. Followed this grass, and I said, look, I'm going to fish this area back in toward the center of the lake, heavy, until I think it was 10 a.m. I said I was going to give it up and then head over to the east bank and follow my way back down toward the launch, but fish the way down and hopefully, catch something. Now, my focus on that Saturday trip was pike and crappie. So I was set up because of my experience on this specific rock pile. I actually took the jig head off of my beetle spin, and with that beetle, and I tied it directly to the line and then put on with like 2 feet of lead in between that and a styrofoam bobber. And I chucked that out there. I'll get to this. That was my plan for crappie. It didn't stay that way for long at all. So I go over and I discover a big patch of grass along the east bank, and I started throwing a finesse swim bait. I just right over the top, and I got hit hard. I got hit so hard. I was throwing this swim bait on a 3/16 ounce tungsten reaction tackle swim jig head. The bait keeper or the trailer keeper that's on that jig head is the tungsten. And it's the kind you guys have seen before. It looks like an anchor. It's got 2 points on opposite sides together. You push the plastic on, it holds it nice and tight. This fish cracked that tungsten. It was broken. I get the fish over to the boat, and I'm thinking because of how hard this fish hit, that this is a big fish. And I happen to be close to an area where I could get out and measure a fish that was too large to manage on my kayak, that I wasn't about to fool around with. So I'm like, okay, so I can do this on the bank. This is good thinking. This will work out nice. I get this fish in the net, and I look in the net, and I'm like, a little bit smaller than I expected. It was a 15-inch northern. It was a 15-inch pike. Oh, yeah. Delighted. Like, this weight came off my shoulders. I was like, this is great. Actually, let me clarify. That weight only came off my shoulders after I verified I had a good picture and I could release this fish. But this fish bit this so weird. He had a hole in the bottom of his mouth because he bit the jig, and the hook went like sideways around his neck and actually hooked in twice. Like, getting that hook out of there was ridiculous. It was an endeavor. Put him back in the net to kind of like let himself, get some oxygen, and then put him on the board, measured him, released him. Everybody's happy. I was like, this is great. So then I make my way back down. Now, instead of fishing on my way down, I've got the target fish. I've got the one that I was looking for. I'm like, nope, I'm just going to get crappie right now. So I switch out my rig, and I have my medium light spinning combo with this tiny light jig with a float on it. Now, my plan is to go find this rock pile, and I throw my side scan on, and I start pedaling over. And I found it. I found that rock pile, and I made a cast over to it with my with this float, and I got a couple of taps. Bobber kind of just jostles a little bit, but doesn't really go under the surface at all. It wasn't really a bite. Didn't move at all. Like, okay, huh. And I realized something. The wind picked up. I cut the jig off. I took off the float. I put the beetle spin back on, and I made 5 casts, and I caught 4 fish. The first cast, I landed a dinner plate of a freaking bluegill. Just absolute tank. And I should have measured it. It may have even taken longer. I wasn't even thinking about that because I already had the point. But I really should have measured it and entered it just to see if I could have taken that longer. That extra point would have been good. Next cast, nothing. Third cast, that was the black crappie. And I was like, 2 points. We're feeling pretty damn good. This is a good feeling. So I go and I'm like, just for shits and giggles, let me throw a few more and see what happens. The next 3 casts, I caught 3 bluegill, tiny ones. The tiny type, you grab the jig, you shake it, they fall right off, and you just keep going. Another cast, boom, another cast, boom. And I'm like, this is stupid. As I'm thinking this, there's a truck that comes down into the parking lot with a jet ski on it. And I said, that is right there. That is divine intervention. I'm out. So I pack up my stuff, call my wife, like, hey, honey, I'm going to buy lunch tonight. I went over to Richard's Grinders, and I bought lunch for the whole family, and they happen to have the best chips ever. The Kettle brand habanero lime.
They're good.
God, and it was the big bag too, dude. So that was my treat to myself driving home. Because I'm a fat shit. I'm going to die. So I got home. Like I said, I slept like shit. I was exhausted. I only ate half of my sandwich. And I was like, I have plans to go out. And we'll see what happens. So I took a nap for a couple hours. I got up, talked to my buddy Paul. The plan was I was going to mix up some carp bait. And big shout out to Todd Grubb for the inspiration of this carp bait. I'd tell you what's in there, but the man will kill me if I say it, so I won't. But I will say this. I did use some of the New England Carp Creations baits that they produce. And, man, these things are just potent as hell. Absolutely potent. So I fished for 5 hours from the bank. I went out with Paul. He brought a spinning combo. We rigged him up with a few kernels of corn on a drop shot because I was like, I'm not 100% sure how we should rig this, with what you're using. I said, I'm not, we'll see. Neither one of us got a tap. I drank quite a few beers in that window, and I enjoyed some of Grandpa's sleepy time medicine, and we had some good laughs, told some stories. That is truly a style of fishing that I haven't done like regularly in forever. It's been years, probably over a decade. And it blows my mind. I'm like, this is a good time. It's a nice way to kind of hit that reset button after like going out with a mission, first thing this morning to collect these two species and nail them. And I was successful in doing that. So would have been great to put a little bit of carp slime on my catch board. Did not pan out, but we had a good time. I got home and it was just about 1 o'clock. And it was nuts. I think maybe they were a little bit turned off because we did have thunderstorms that ran through right before I left out. In fact, when I got there, it was still raining pretty good. So it's kind of rough. I was wearing my nor'easter hoodie, though, so I wasn't soaked,
Yeah.
It was good.
I do know.
Oh, but yeah, so that was my week overall. I had a lot of fun. I got to fish with a bunch of different people, and it was awesome. But I'm satisfied with where I am for the tournament. I don't. I got to tell you, like I know what's coming for these tournaments, and I am not looking to win these tournaments right now. I want to stay in this pool as kind of the cruise director. You know what I mean? That's my role. I don't know what the cruise director's name was on Love Boat. It's been a long time, but that's who I want to be.
Wasn't it Captain Steubing? Was
it Captain Steubing? I thought he was the captain.
Yeah, you're the captain of the boat. You're the director of the fun and games, right?
That's true. Yeah, maybe. I'm sure one of our jig heads is going to Google that and say like, no.
No, Bobby, it's not.
Oh my goodness. So yeah, it was fun. So Joe, how was your week?
My week was good, man. Like I said, I got out twice fishing. First time was my little Wednesday night league. It's actually a pretty good one. So it was at Quabog again, because it's usually there like 3 times. But so Ryan and I go there, and it was an absolute shit show. It just sucked. It was a tough night. We made the mistake. Not so much mistake, but we did the run. We did the river run.
Oh, okay, yeah.
We essentially went all the way to, the mouth to Lake Wickabog.
Yep.
Went all the way down there because I knew it was high. I knew we could get down there quick. I mean, I sent you the video. I knew we could get down there quick. Yeah, that was intense. That was the first time I'd done a run that fast in a river that small. The adrenaline part of me loved it. I mean, I kind of get those crazy adrenaline kicks, but doing 60, 65 in a small windy river. But it was like 5 feet of water, so it was fine. But
nice.
Anyway, so we do that run and we get to like the spots we wanted to, and the current was way.
It was just rocking.
Yeah, it was way stronger than we had anticipated, which made it a little difficult. We got some hits in some pockets, but we just weren't we just weren't getting anything. And so we did that run. We spent maybe 45 minutes in the river, made the run all the way back, so screwing back down to the lake, hit a couple spots, and then we found some high grass. It wasn't so much, I don't know what type of vegetation it is, but so we go in there, we're kind of throwing that, and Ryan misses one that shook him. And then I was actually stupid. I was throwing my BFS setup in that.
Oh, in the grass, yeah.
Just because I was like, you know what? I want to throw this wacky setup in here because I was being lazy because I felt like with the conditions, the punch and flipping rig I had was a little too heavy and it was dropping too fast. And instead of just switch out the way, I was like, let me throw a wacky. Not the third cast, I hook into something. And it was big, and we ended up seeing it. I'm not going to give a size or anything like that, but it was probably the biggest fish I've caught this year. I would have caught this year. Yeah.
Fuck.
Because I saw because it kind of came, it came out, to the surface, was mouth open, and then, kind of went back down. It didn't come directly out. You just saw the mouth, and then it went back in and brought me into those weeds. And I just, it was completely 100% my mistake. I didn't, I should have given him some, I should have given him some tension. I should have given him some drag, and I didn't. And he snapped me. He snapped me off. I think it was more, it was kind of like, I wasn't expecting it to happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We'd had a rough go. We had no fish in the boat. So it was just kind of like those, like, oh, what the fuck ever. I'll just throw this. Like, fuck it. Yep. Like, I'm not tying anything else. I'll just throw this. And then I get hit. And, Ryan is something I don't let my frustrations get the best of me very often. I unfortunately did here. And, it kind of caused an awkward moment in the boat.
Oh, it definitely can. It's like, are you okay?
I mean, that snapped off, and I pretty much just spiked that rod right into the deck, and I was just like, and dropped some F-bombs, and Ryan just kind of, it was just like he just stood there awkwardly because he'd never seen me react like that.
Oh yeah,
yeah. I think it was just the heat and it happens to the best of us.
The heat will make you nuts.
Yeah.
Like there was a point where I was fishing with Chrissy, and you know how like especially kayak fishing, you'll get like a bunch of grass on your lure and you'll slap it against the water to clear it. And this was just like I hit this bait in the water 3 times, and I thought I'm willing to bet she thought I was having a fucking meltdown.
Yeah.
I almost guarantee it.
Yeah,
it was the heat of the moment.
Yeah, seriously. It was my daughter just brought me these.
Oh, look at that. That's awesome.
Thank you, Emma. I love you. So that broke off, and just like, I think it's because I knew the size of the fish, and it was probably most likely the biggest one I would have had this year. That just makes it that much worse. So everything, after it happens, I was like, dude, you keep fishing. I just had to, gather myself for a second. And that's like, in your head, you're like, what the fuck was I thinking doing that?
Yeah.
Like, I completely deserve for that to happen. You know what I mean? And it was tough. So we basically didn't weigh in one fish that night. We just could not. We had caught fish, but they were just, they were rats. They were too small. That's, luckily we just kind of laughed about, it's our Wednesday night. We were like, oh, what the fuck,
exactly.
But most people only caught like 2 or 3 that night.
That's what I was going to ask. Like, what was the rest of the field like? Because Wednesday was a tough day for me,
Yeah. Yep. It was, but so shit happens, but it was just kind of funny for us. But so the rest of the week went by, took care of some personal shit, for those of you who don't know, last week I wasn't here. I had a death in the family. It was a close uncle of mine. He was that cool uncle that I told a couple, he was that cool uncle that, he didn't have kids of his own or like a family. So at your like 10th birthday, he would buy you like $300 worth of fireworks that you shouldn't have. Like he was that uncle. He was actually my first roommate when I left the house, when I left the nest. So I was taking care of that, the family just kind of getting together with that stuff. But that's where I was last week. So I took care of a little bit of shit for that this week. But no, so today I went out. I didn't get out yesterday. Yesterday was kind of a get shit done around the house kind of day. So the weather was trash anyway. Got out today. I went to Singletary. You guys are familiar with Singletary, right?
I don't know if I've ever fished Singletary.
I don't know if you fished it, but you've been there. That's where you came. That's where you came for the first time.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's where you came for the first time? What the fuck?
Yeah, dude.
God.
Bobby and I went behind the Porta-John.
Yeah,
Yeah, so I went there today. It was kind of the same thing you were talking about. I didn't set an alarm or anything. I was like, yeah, I'll get there when I get there. So I probably ended up getting there like 7:45. There wasn't there was a couple fishing boats there. I was like, all right, I drop in, brought my dog. That's a new thing I've been doing. When he's been coming fishing with me. He loves it. He's
That's
like
awesome.
the chillest German Shepherd on the planet. So he just literally sits on the deck and sleeps. I think he's like narcoleptic or something.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. But so we went out there. It was it was a little windy at first. I missed the topwater bite, really, the like early morning top. I keep telling myself I always want to get out for the early topwater bite, but my lazy ass hates mornings and whatever. Jay Basson just says PB is from there. That's awesome.
Oh, shit. Nice.
Yeah. Quick side note. I know last year I think it was like a 16, 17-year-old kid caught a largemouth and weighted it in the tournament. It was just over 8 pounds from Singletary.
Jesus. Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yep.
Does Singletary have another name? Is it known by something else?
No, not that I know of.
Right,
it's in Millbury.
Yeah, no, I've never been there.
Oh, you'd like it, Sean. That's like one of those places where it has everything. It has deep water. It's got rocks. It's got grass. It's got everything. It's kind of like
Pick
a
your poison
smaller
type thing.
It's kind of like a small version of Webster. It's got some big smallies in there. Yeah, it's a good spot. I think you'd like it a lot.
All right.
Maybe.
But anyway, so I'm in there. I tried the bank. First thing I did was like, all right, it's cooled down a little bit. The water's a little bit cooler. Maybe they're kind of like, whatever. I fished at the shallows. I was only catching cookie cutter fish in there. And like, I've caught really good fish in there. I know they're in there. So that's kind of what I was looking for today. I was catching those. So something told me, I'm like, all right, start looking at the ledges, start going to ledges, start going to, where it goes from, obviously shallow to deep. So I started looking at those contour lines and, I have the live scope, obviously. So I started marking fish that were sitting, it was 16 to 18 feet of water, and they were sitting between 12 and 14 feet. And it was like 2 or 3 of them together. So I ended up throwing what I ended up first cast. I threw a Beast Coast working man's jig.
Yep.
It's like it's like kind of that small. It's not quite a finesse, but it's not quite a.
It's not a full size jig.
Yeah. So I threw that actually with it, and what I had on the trailer was a 6 cents not prawn,
Stroker craw?
Yes, I had a stroker craw on the back. First cast with that, let it kind of sink. I actually did watch it sink, so I was able to do that. And first cast got one probably 3.5-ish.
Nice.
Yeah,
Decent
first
fish.
cast. The unfortunate thing is those once I caught him, I put it kind of back in. Those other 2 were gone. They were just like, it's like their fucking friend just got, taken by aliens. You know what I mean?
Jerry got abducted. Let's get out of here. What do you say, huh?
Yeah, we're out of here. So, but I ended up, that was the biggest one of the day. I ended up catching a couple other ones.
I heard they give him the manatee treatment there.
Yeah.
Oh my God. You went to the manatees.
I did. That'll make sense, listeners, later.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. But so I that one I sent in that our group chat with Dark Horse. That was the biggest one of the day. So I did good. It was an awesome day. I kind of needed it after Quabog.
Yeah.
Probably get out of there about 1:00. The unfortunate thing is Bobby, you've been there, so you know for that size lake, it's a pretty tight ramp.
It's a super tight ramp. I was surprised when I looked at the map.
Yeah, it's very fucked up the way they designed it. It could have been designed way better.
Yeah.
So of course I get back. What do you think's on the splashing? Every fucking wreck boat and jet ski outside of fucking Worcester County.
These fucks.
So I'm just like, which I don't care.
Yeah.
You know what? They have boats. It's their right.
Absolutely.
You know, and I'm good with it. They don't have the etiquette you're supposed to have. You know what I mean? So it's like you got one boat. You could fit probably 5 boats at that dock, but the way one guy parks, you know, so.
Oh, yeah.
So now I'm waiting out there. I just throw my trolling motor down and put in spot lock, just wait and whichever. I'd fucking around on my phone. But the best part is it's all people that look like they've never driven a boat or backed up a trailer. And if you're not comfortable with backing up the trailer, that is not the boat ramp to go to.
No.
I mean, I am phenomenal. I think I am phenomenal at driving, backing up a trailer. And that one usually takes, like, I can't do it in one swoop just because of the length of my trailer and the size that is. You know, it takes me a little inching to get lined up. So you got that. You have those guys along with the family that's sitting on the ramp. They already have 5 people in a boat that only holds 5 people, but they're waiting for the rest of their family to get here in a different vehicle. So they can park in the trailer parking and then unload their clown car of people to get into that boat that's only supposed to hold 5 people.
Fucking
so now there's 15. So now there's 15 people in that boat. So I was waiting for a lot of that. And then I've been seeing this a lot this year. The guy who brings his fucking ocean liner to the lake.
Oh, I hate that shit more than
a lot of those guys out there.
Oh my God.
Oh God.
I mean, I'm talking this thing probably had a fucking master bathroom in it. Like, I'm like, what is this guy
with a bidet
doing?
and an attendant?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. And the best part is like he puts in when I finally got up to the dock and I was just putting my rods in. Like I said, I had the dog, so everyone wanted to come up, say hi to the dog. And they were super nice people. But the part that he told me that he has like a regular like a bow rider, like ski boat. And he's like, oh, I just wanted to take this one today. I'm like, the fuck? I was like, what? Why?
And that ramp especially, like,
I could get, if you want to bring that thing on fucking Webster, so like have at it. The ramp's fine, like all that shit. But this one is like I said, like even for like my 20-footer, it's tight. Like
it's almost like a right angle you have to make in order to get in there.
So so you have it's completely perpendicular.
Yeah.
From where you pull in. But the problem is it's not where you have to take that right to be able to straighten out. You can't. There's not enough room to straighten out. So so it's a real fucking dick pain. But so finally after like 20 minutes, they get out. So I put my rods in and I go and grab my truck, or I go to get in my truck. I grab Draco, my dog, and a guy pulls into and he pulls into the ramp and backs his trailer into the water. And I'm looking because there's no boat. Mine's the only boat on there now. So I kind of get out for a second. I look over there. They're like, oh, do you need to get in here? Our boat broke down. It's being towed over right now. Here's a caveat to the whole thing. That place is so small that there's not enough room for them to get out of the way for me to pull in. So now they're just blocking the ramp until the fucking boat gets, towed back, which took a good 15 minutes.
Holy shit.
Yeah. So it was just that with that whole part. I'm sitting on, I'm like swearing and bitching to Meg and all, and I'm just like, this is fucking ridiculous. I wanted to be home by a certain time, didn't make it, but yeah. So finally I got off. I finally get off the fucking water.
Yep.
And that guy whose boat broke down, he like pulls out and then pulls back into a spot. Cool. That's great. I'm good with that.
Yeah.
Me, I'm very good at putting my boat on the trailer. I have that shit on. I have my truck backed in, that boat on the trailer within 2 minutes. Like, so I do that. I get the boat on, I pull it out, and I just pull up to almost like towards the street, like, you know, and I just button it up real quick. That takes me another 2 minutes. Yeah. As I'm buttoning it up, the guy whose boat broke down pulls out and then has the audacity to fucking beep at me to get out of the way.
What a piece of shit. What an absolute piece of shit. If that, it's one of these medals.
Pot, meet kettle. Kettle, meet pot.
Yeah.
You fucking idiot.
Again, I'm a new person from when I was younger.
Yeah.
The younger me probably would have went over there and punched his window right out.
You would have been that guy face. In that reel. Doom, doom, doom.
Yeah, that would have been me. So, but I just kind of gave him the look he understood, and he did not beep again.
That's good.
You know what I mean? That's the best way I could put it. So yeah, so that was after my great day of fishing, that was the boat ramp fiasco. And I've never really, I thought about it on the way home. Every time I go to Singletary, I typically go on like when I have like a Monday off or something.
Oh yeah.
If it's a nice day, you know what I mean? So I was like, oh, okay. All right. This makes sense now. But yeah, so I caught some good fish, all bass. Usually that's a place, or all largemouth. Usually I hook into a couple smallies there. I did not hook into any smallies. I actually expected those deep fish I was telling you I hooked into. I actually expected those to be smallies, and they weren't.
Really?
Yeah. So no smallies, but got a couple decent largemouth, and brought my confidence back up, and now went and had a couple cocktails, dinner with the wife, and here I am with you fucking schmucks.
There we are. Look at that shit. Look at that shit.
Look at that shit.
That's awesome, dude. That's not a bad day. I mean, catching a little bit of quality is always a good thing. Yeah. It really is. It's funny. You were talking about that working man's jig, and I was thinking for a second, I thought you were going to say you threw a shaky head. I was like, why do I feel like he's throwing a shaky head? And
so before you continue, that I did catch a few on a shaky head. That the ones that were up shallow, I was catching a lot on shaky heads. Yep.
Well, you inspired something this week, Joe, with the last handful of shows where you'd mentioned, we talked about shaky heads on Bait of the Week.
I love them.
And this ties right in ideally to something that we want to talk about on the show, which is something cool that Dark Horse Tackle, which, when we partnered with Dark Horse Tackle, I never expected them to like have this functioning up and running as fast as they did. Unbelievable. So what I'm talking about here is that Dark Horse has put together a new feature on their website. So it's a build your own box style service. And what they do is on their website, you see, when you do something like what Dark Horse Tackle does, you have to purchase more than you need. It's like if you're organizing an event and you're doing a buffet, there's always more than enough food. Like a good caterer would know that, because last thing you want to do is run out and not have enough. So it's not like we got, finesse jigs or something and we want to, we only have this number, and then a couple of people squeak in with subscriptions and now you don't have enough material to be able to fill the boxes that are supposed to go out.
Yeah.
So they had put this feature together, and I was stoked about it, but I expected it was going to be months, maybe even like next spring, that this was going to take off. It's live, guys. Like, you can go to Dark Horse Tackle and build your own box. And Dark Horse Tackle has been so unbelievably fucking cool that they gave our listeners to our show and the jig heads quite a significant discount. The jig heads get a little bit of a special discount. So I'm going to go ahead and I think I was going to wait to talk about this the contents were of my box until I got it, so I could do an unboxing. And actually, it's going to be here in like 2 days. I think next week's show, I'm going to be throwing a lot of these baits. I will talk about the baits after using them, and let's just talk about what's on the way now. So, what I selected was actually some stuff that came in the Creek box because I'm that much of a fan, and a couple of other items that I thought were really, really amazing that were from previous boxes that we had missed out on.
Right.
So what I had done was I had chosen a shaky head, a Jigmaster signature shaky head in 5/16 ounce. And I like to, anytime I usually select like black or unpainted, but lately this year I've been buying a lot of green pumpkin jigs. Green pumpkin, swim head jigs and things like that, swim bait jigs and things like that. So I got these in green pumpkin, and I'm psyched to throw those. The repeat that I had ordered was the Giltech finesse jig and 3/16 ounce in green pumpkin. And that's the cool thing. They have an inventory of all the colors and the different varieties. So you can select based on whatever that they've got. When they sell out, they just gray right out. So if you don't have enough of those, then I got, there's one more jig that I threw in there. It's from Martin's Custom Baits. This is called the Nomadic Finesse Jig. And just a very cool looking jig. I got this in, what color is it that I got this in? Slime Ball is the name of the color. And that's a 3/8 ounce jig. I picked up a couple of. We'll do the wake bait that I picked up. This is a Stoneman wake bait, and the color is Wakasagi. And this is it. Kind of has almost like a trout kind of pattern on there. There's a little pink, a little bit of gold, some silver, and it's an interesting style. It looks like it's really flat sided.
Okay.
It should be pretty cool.
Actually, I'm on the site as you're telling me all this and checking it out.
And I got two different plastics. The one with my favorite name I'm going to save for last. I picked up these plastics. These are Lake Fork Guy lure, trophy lures, the Magic Shad V-tail, which is it's a swim bait style, but with a vertical tail. And it's got 3 pieces in there where the plastic is like much thinner. It almost looks like it's hinged. And I'm thinking that this might make for like a really good like chatterbait trailer is what I'm thinking.
Gotcha.
The color that I got is, I don't know. Oh, it's bluegill. That's what I got. And then the last one, the Jaboom Beaver Balls. It's a creature bait with a couple of like pinchers and these 2 little appendages that are on the outside that are like cylindrical in shape, but they have a ball end at the end. And I'm wondering if the balls are.
I'm wondering if the balls are buoyant.
That's what I'm wondering. I'm wondering how they react underwater. I'm thinking this could be a lot of fun on a finesse jig, or a small Texas rig or something. And I picked purple melon as my color for that one.
Okay.
I'm psyched to get these baits. And for all of you guys listening right now, and you're going to hear a spot run with all this information, but you can save 25% on your box, on your Dark Horse Tackle BYOB box. Build your own box. 25%, the boxes are $35. And I mean, 25% off is a huge savings on some of these baits. You can save yourself some money. The code for you to use is J and B. J, the word and, B, BYOB 25. So it's J and B, BYOB 25. Save 25% on your code. And everybody has an opportunity to use this code one time. So like, go for it. Build your own box, save some money, and try out some stuff. Like maybe if you're, a listener of the show and you're not normally a subscriber for Dark Horse Tackle, and I know that they had a bunch of folks that did subscribe within the last couple of weeks. If you missed out on some baits, this is a great way to kind of get caught up with things that you think might be pretty cool. And if you try something from your subscription and you think it's cool, and it's something you would like more of, you might be able to order it from them. Obviously, if they don't have it in stock, you can go directly to the bait maker themselves. And that's what they want you to do. They want you to go over there, but like it does them no good holding all this extra stock. So they just got to move it. So they're like, yep, we'll go ahead. We'll put this stuff out there. Folks can use it. But like, if you don't have that color, go check out, like that Giltech finesse jig. If they didn't have that color in stock, I was prepared to go and get that color because that's the color I'd been slaying them on. I like that finesse jig a lot. It's super light. It's super finessey, but holy shitballs, does it get bit.
Yeah.
Absolutely freaking love it. We got Todd fishing the sticks with us. Oh my goodness. It was a pretty solid week. We have one more day of the month. I am probably not going to be able to get out and fish. So where I'm at currently on the Jigs and Bigs multi-species tournament is pretty much where I'm staying. But I have never had this many points ever in this tournament. It is nuts. It's awesome. Really, really, really cool feeling. You're muted, Sean.
I've been quiet for a couple minutes. Besides being muted, I've actually been just kind of looking over the monthly tournament just to kind of see where we're all at, meaning you guys who have been fishing. And Bobby, there's a three-way tie for first.
Yeah.
There's a three-way tie for second. You're in the three-way tie for second, or however you want to put it, sixth.
Really?
Or whatever. Yeah. There's three people. We'll jump right into this if you don't mind.
Yeah, go for it, man.
Yeah. Right now, Nelson, Brant Rowland, and John Thompson are all sitting at top with 12 points each.
No shit.
And then you, Jerry Multihouse, and John Hagens are all sitting with 10 points each.
Yep.
So I'm actually kind of setting things up so that when we're done with recording tonight, and maybe if I can work on it while we're talking here.
Sure.
We're gonna see where these tiebreakers fall out or shake out because the first tiebreaker, as stated in the rules, is number of species caught.
Yep.
And then it's number of submissions and then longest fish.
Yeah. So
I've got a little bit of work to do on that, but I might have us an answer by the end of the show here. No, great job, man. You've been killing it.
It's been awesome. I like seriously, I told Paul last night, I was like, I got to be honest with you, man. If we get a carp, I'm going to enter it, but I'm like, I am not looking to win this tournament. This is fulfilling this engagement with listeners of the show. That's exactly what I want. I'm like, the fact that I'm doing this, the fact that I was tied, at least at one point when I looked at it, with Jerry Multi-Species House.
Come the fuck on.
How is that a thing?
You went out and fished and caught a lot of species, man.
Is Jerry okay? Should we do a wellness check? I'm going to reach out. I'm going to see if he's all right. Oh, my goodness. Oh, God. Gravy fishing. Gravy fishing. You saw that, too?
I just saw that.
Oh, shit. I don't know. I mean, they're probably, I don't know.
I'm gonna fucking put it in our group chat we have with them. Be like, hey, question.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Well, Zach is in this chat. He can see.
Oh, that's right.
He is. He's in here somewhere.
He's still fishing too. I don't know if you've noticed, but the entire time we've been recording, he sends us a picture of every fish he catches.
Yeah. Oh, of course. Why not? That's what we do. I kind of love that group chat. I really do.
Oh, it's great.
I feel like we have partnered with some folks that I've never felt more seen and like, aside from when we were partnered with Old Glory, it was the same thing.
Wah, wah.
Same thing. I love it. Oh, that could be interesting. We'll try and get you an answer on that there, Gravy. We'll try and figure that shit out. Speaking of events coming up, and I know that I don't think Sean's available for this one, and I don't even have a date for it yet. But Hoodlum Fest is coming up. Joe, are you considering doing Hoodlum Fest?
Come on,
we should do it.
If I can be there,
yeah.
It would take an exigent circumstance for me to not be there.
We should do it. I'm thinking about it. I'm like, this could be kind of fun. It might be my return to camping to pull the beef curtain wide open. I have intentionally been avoiding camping because of the heat.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah.
They're saying this is like the hottest summer like recorded ever.
Yeah.
Like, globally.
It's just so hot. And I'm like, I would love to go back up to Maine and there's some other stuff I'd love to do, but Man, this heat is crazy. Unless I got a few days to just kind of suck it up, and make it work. Oh, here we go. I guess I don't have to reach out to Jerry. Jerry's chiming in. He says, "Oh, haven't been on the water much, working." I appreciate that, Jerry. Thank you. Oh, goodness. Man, yeah, Hoodlum Fest is coming up. I'm looking forward to that. It should be a whole lot of fun.
What's the date on that again?
I don't know yet.
Oh, that's right.
That's the thing. I'm waiting on the date so I can make some plans. I know they're talking about like September.
Yeah.
So that should work out. You guys might be able to help me out. You guys both have dogs and are used to being on the water. I have a situation in my house. I made the decision to not go on the vacation with my family to South Carolina this year. Primarily because when you own your own business, there is no vacation time. So I'm letting go of a shit ton of income on letting go, 25% of my monthly earnings to also create a shit ton of additional credit card debt and stuff for this trip. So I told my wife, I'm like, look, I'm going to send you down with my car, do your thing, have fun with the girls. And they're bringing Eleanor on the trip. And initially, Holly said, oh, well, I'll just leave the dogs at home with you and I won't board Hudson. I'll just leave him home with you. And I was like, cool, go for it. And then the girls were just like, no, let's bring Eleanor. Like we planned on it. Let's go to the beach and hang out with her and do, Eleanor stuff. And they decided they'd bring the little derpy gray thing. And I made the decision. I said, you know what? I go, yeah, I'm going to have Hudson. I'm going to try and get him to do some more outside shit. So I might that week take him on a couple of bank fishing sends, both actually, to tell you the truth, I would love to go and do just a creek mission. Go out and throw like some really, really, really finessey baits in a creek and see what I can do. I don't know how he's going to do in the water. He's a Boston Terrier, but he's big for a Boston. And I'm not sure exactly how he's going to do. My other thought is, and this would be easy, is just carp fishing. Just setting up my carp gear and hanging out, playing with him. And, if I get a little bit of action, fabulous. If not, c'est la vie, we'll make it work. Then my other thought is, I was thinking about two other things. Trying to get him accustomed to camping with me and sleeping in the truck. So based on the weather, I might just set up my gear in the backyard and let it rip. I don't want to go anywhere because I'm going to be tempted to fish. You know what I mean? So I don't really want to go anywhere. I just kind of want to test out the sleeping and see. I think he'll do fine with that. The camping, I think he'll be fine with. My thing is the kayak. What do you guys think the best thing is for me to do? Now, he's like an indoor dog. He hasn't done shit with the water aside from rain or snow when he's gone out to do his business.
So I don't know a ton about Boston Terriers, a ton. I mean, I do know a little bit, because I'm a big dog person. My assumption is they're not huge outdoor dogs as it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
They sleep for like 20 hours a day.
Yeah. So I would say, if you're planning on bringing them on the kayak or anything like that, start slow. Don't be surprised if it doesn't work out and you just have to go home.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. I was almost thinking about just trying to pick him up and put him in the kayak on the trailer.
Okay. Yeah.
Before I even do anything, and then drive down the road and see what he. No, I'm kidding about that. I'm not going to drive down the road with Hudson sitting there. He'll fucking lose his shit. Because that's the thing. His thing is he's such an anxious dog. He's such an anxious dog.
I guess the best thing to do, in my opinion, would, like you said, bring him around. Don't even go fishing first, or if that was my plan. Bring them around the bank, bring them out there to get used to being outside, around water, around a lake, bring a pole in as a secondary option in case it's good to go. But just, I would start out there before you just throw them right in the kayak.
Yeah. I think that might be the move. Maybe I will start with that.
I've lucked out. I've had my last 3 dogs were, German Shepherds. They love the outdoors.
Oh, yeah.
So I've kind of lucked out. But yeah, I mean, that's what I would do.
Oh yeah.
I don't have any advice for you. I've taken my dogs in my kayak once. My lab decided he saw something in the water he needed to go at, and that was the end of it. I would leave him on the shore.
Labs will do that.
If you're going to paddle with them without fishing, take them. If you're going to go fishing, leave them on the shore.
Well, and I think what my plan is if I can get him in the kayak and he can chill, I'll just go and take him for a ride. You know what I mean? I'll pedal around. I'll get him used to all that. Same thing, like getting in and out of the boat. Like get him. Like I'll just take a day and just do that. That I understand, and that'll be okay. If I'm gonna fish, it'll be afterwards sometime. Like if he's comfortable with it, and then let him go. Because I was thinking about it. There's a spot that I want to fish, a good Smalley reservoir in New England, and I'm like, man, I got the time. In fact, there is a day that week that I don't have trivia scheduled. It's the Friday, the week that my family's out of town. So my thought was, maybe I'll go out Friday, and I'll pack everything up and camp and bring him with me, and see how he does. But early in the week, I'll have to figure it out there. Todd chimes in here with some stuff. He goes, down in North Carolina on vacay, on Lake Fontana. It's fucking huge. He goes, take him swimming with a PFD and see how he does. See, I thought about that too. And I'm not sure what I should do for a PFD for him. I know that they make them for dogs, and they're relatively adjustable, so I could try that. He says that their lab is nervous, gets shaky on the kayak. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm afraid of. Then he's going to shit his pants in the kayak, and I'll be like, dude. What the fuck? This isn't my boat.
Shit his pants on the kayak. Love it.
I mean, not like I haven't done it, but still, that's me, and I can handle it. Man, that I think that about does it for segment number 1, guys. We're gonna take a quick little 2-minute break here. We got some information from Dark Horse Tackle, a word from our partners, and all kinds of good stuff for you guys. We will be back in just a few minutes with a FTG this week that is going to blow your mind. It really is. And it's all jet ski related. And then in bait of the week, we're talking chatterbaits. And let's, jigheads, if you care to, feel free to throw in the comments your take on chatterbaits, your favorite chatterbaits, and styles of like where you like to fish them and how, like retrieval techniques and things like that. We'd love to kind of dive in and involve some of you as well. We will be right back. Don't go too far. We got much more Jigs and Bigs goodness coming up right after this. This is an official press release from Dark Horse Tackle. Dark Horse Tackle has a new website. Be on the lookout for an email from Dark Horse Tackle explaining how to move your subscription. There will also be a letter in your next box explaining how to move your subscription to the new website. Our former host platform, Cratejoy, inflicted outrageous fees on Dark Horse Tackle and made it almost impossible for us to continue to support American small business bait and tackle makers. It is vital that customers get their subscriptions moved to the new site by the following steps provided. Customers that move their subscriptions to the new site will be rewarded with a 50% off code for the brand new Build Your Own Box feature. For Jigs and Bigs listeners new to Dark Horse Tackle, the code is JNBBYOB25 for 25% off of a BYOB. Jig heads new to the Dark Horse Tackle family will receive a more substantial discount for the BYOB feature. The BYOB inventory grows with new bait drops on the 10th of every month. Make sure to check the notes of this podcast right now for that promo code and a link to Dark Horse Tackle. Jigs and Bigs wants to take a moment to say thank you to our partners for helping us continue to push the limits of our fishing adventures and bring you amazing long-form content. We're excited to offer Jigs and Bigs listeners a 15% off savings on your first installment of a month-to-month subscription to Dark Horse Tackle. Dark Horse Tackle provides a monthly supply of small batch, craft, and custom lures, allowing anglers to try some otherwise tough-to-discover baits. This is stuff you're not going to find just anywhere, and Dark Horse Tackle does the hard part for you. They track down these small companies and then test the baits to determine if they're good enough for the DHT community. Subscribe now at darkhorsetackle.com and use the promo code JIGSandBigs15 for your 15% off savings now. For all your premium kayak needs, we partner with Three Bells Outfitters. Located along Smith Cove in Niantic, Connecticut, Three Bells is your go-to location for kayaks and accessories by Hobie, Native, Bonafide, Jackson, Yak Attack, Naqua, Boondocks, Burley Pro, and much, much more. Financing options are available to upgrade your kayak fishing experience. White glove delivery service is also available. Visit threebellsoutfitters.com for more info, and don't forget to tell them that Jigs and Bigs sent you. When it comes to high-quality polarized sunglasses, we've partnered with Toredge. They provide stylish sunglasses in a variety of frames that are light and fit comfortably on your face. The polarization cuts glare and allows you to see the whole picture, helping you identify what's below the water's surface. They have a 60-day risk-free trial, a lifetime warranty, and free shipping. Plus, you can save yourself 10% off with the code JIGSandBigs10 at checkout. Visit Toredge.com to check out their selection and lens options. Again, we cannot thank our partners enough for their support. Please consider supporting them and supporting the show in the same process.
Bobby and Sean now have a special presentation for us all. They'd like to give everyone just the tip.
Before we get into the tip, I gotta throw something out there.
Please do.
Before the tip gets into us.
So we have to record something, Bobby, where the intro there, where it's like Bobby and Sean, and then me in the background, and Joe.
There we go. Yeah.
Don't even change it. Just keep it that and let me dub over.
Yeah, we can do that. Yeah. You know what? We'll record it. We'll record it when we're done tonight, and I'll edit it.
Well, let's talk tips. Let's talk one tip in particular.
Sorry.
That's the tip I wanted to talk about. I got a message from an angler who shall remain unnamed that he had said he'd started using the fishing log template I provided him based off my stuff. Basically, I have a sanitized version of my fishing log that if somebody asks me, I tend to fire it out there and say, here you go, try it. And this angler used it for about a month and said, wow, I'm seeing things already. And my advice to him was stop looking.
Yeah.
Stop fucking looking. You do not want to start making decisions on what you think your patterns are in just a 1 month in a random summer. You've got to really establish at least 2 years, if not 3, of just document, and then look back and say, wow, I did this with this, and why am I carrying that? As I've said before, the whole reason that I came up with this fishing log was to save myself money at bait and tackle shops.
Yep.
That's it. That is it. I don't go and use stuff that I don't go buy stuff I don't use. That doesn't work with the way I fish. And I was a little concerned. I said, that's not really the way this is supposed to work, because if you start doing things after a month, even if you fish every day, 30 days, if you start doing things, you're going to be shaping your own data.
Yeah.
And that's not the point. You just want to put your head down, fish, write everything down, and then turn around after those couple years and say, what am I doing? And there's a million ways you can analyze it, but that's the bottom line. If you're using a fishing log, don't even try to analyze it and implement whatever analysis that you've come up with. Don't even try it until at least 2 years have passed, if not 3. I think I went 3 years before I think I fished for 2009, 2010, 2011, and then I implemented what I looked at it, analyzed it, implemented what I was doing, really got rid of shit I wasn't using and bought more of what I was using and catching fish with. and went from there. And I had tough decisions. Like we talked about this, like that was a long time ago. And I had only caught at that point like 4 fish with chatterbaits, but they were all over 17 inches. So I sat there and went, what does this mean? Chatterbaits?
Yeah.
Yeah. What is this like a big fish lure? And obviously I kept them and I've done very well with them since. But that's my tip for the week. Short, quick. We've covered this before. Don't analyze your data until you've got a lot to analyze.
Yeah.
Because you're hamstringing yourself. I know I'm the one who's really in depth with this. You guys have any 2 cents on this? 1 cent?
Yeah, I definitely do. I mean, the key is what this is supposed to show you is patterns. And when you're breaking your fishing down as annually and you're looking at this happened this year, this happened that year, this happened this year, like if you're looking at it and let's say you're only looking at like a 6-month window that season, you're looking at like, let's take the entire, like what you would fish in New England typically from April to about October. You know, if you look at that, think of the changes that happen throughout that year that can affect your season, you know, your fishing. Then take that and imagine what your last decade looked like. What are the water levels like? Did the bodies of water you were fishing maybe start drudging than they never did before? Or were they nuking weeds or things like that? And these little elements, they're going to show up over time, and it's going to be just something that you can kind of handle. You know what I mean? You want to see it for what it is. And you also have to compare other bodies of water too. Like, is it weeds or is it just the way that you're fishing weeds in this one particular body of water? Like, you need a lot of data. You got to, hang on.
Zoom out.
That's what you got to do. You got to zoom out and get the big picture and say like, oh, cool. You know, you think we're in America? We're in outer fucking space.
We're on a rock.
Yeah.
Zipping through space.
So it's one of those things you might just want to tinker with. And,
Space weather.
You know, and it's very, very difficult to look back at data that is too recent. And it's also kind of unfulfilling, to tell you the truth. Because, like, if you just look at, like, the last, like, you know, even just that 1 year, you're like, cool, so I guess the pre-spawn, I did this well, and then there was this. What about that other pre-spawn so I can balance the trends, what lined up and what didn't? Oh, there isn't another pre-spawn? Fuck me, you know?
Yeah, let's take a month in the summer in the middle of a heat wave.
Yeah.
How have you guys been catching fish this month? Because I haven't fished. What has it been, like, finesse-y? For the most part, I know, Bobby, you had the chatterbait run for a little bit, but like
chatterbaits were good. I've been killing them on the swim jig, on a big swim jig. You know,
I've been way more finessey.
Yeah.
I'll see follows and then I'll follow it up with, obviously I'm still searching. Again, I have the luck of having live scope, so I can see those follows, and then I'll follow it up with something finessey.
So, you take that 1 month that this angler threw at me, and I said, well, I didn't go into it, but there's a danger. So let's say we have a rainy August and everything flips, and whatever this angler was using, maybe it was finesse, all of a sudden
I'm going to go ahead and mute for a second.
It's a little finesse. Okay.
Joe, you're banned from adding your name to
Hold on a second. So this is my first, Sean, this is the first time you've seen this setup. I have my setup in my garage now, and I'm trying to figure out the fucking cord still. I don't know if you just saw a few minutes ago, some of the jigs heads may have. I was on mute, but I was fucking tangled in my chair.
Oh, is that what that was? Oh my God.
Tangled in my chair trying to figure out how to get the fuck back up because I knew you were going to ask me a question soon. So just now, it just fucking knocked over my little seltzer here, and thank God it didn't explode. It's all dented and shit. So it's this fucking cord. Because Bobby told me not to get cordless, so I listened to him, and this is what we're doing.
Now you've got to give the jig head some entertainment. You got to open it right now on camera.
Oh no, dude!
I will. I'm in my fucking garage.
He says I'm in my garage. Fuck it.
Knowing my luck, it'll go the wrong direction all over my fucking laptop, the TV, and like everything. I'll be like,
quick,
that was not worth it.
Put it in
week's
rice. Put it in rice.
Next week's Jigs and Bigs will open up. We're sorry to let everyone know we've lost. Who the fuck is Joe Brown to fire ants? Fire ants got him after he was covered in seltzer.
Yeah. Yep. Pretty soon you're gonna see me with my electric fly swatter because I am in a fucking garage. So you know.
Oh yeah, dude, the skeeters were terrible.
They're so
Thursday
bad
night
this
at
year.
trivia, I lost like half my teams like in the third round because they were like, "This is brutal." It was right after a storm outdoors. It was rough, and then after the storm Saturday, like we had a little bit of wind, so that was a little bit better. But I was covered in bug spray. I was getting munched.
Yep. Yeah, it's my poor kids, dude. Like, you know, I live in the woods, so it's like it doesn't matter how much we douse them. My I mean, you guys know Emma. Poor fucking Emma. I pick her up from school the other day. She looked like she had fucking chicken pox. I'm surprised DCF didn't get called on us.
They're bad this year.
And you know, she has super sensitive skin like me. So every little bite is like that much worse. I'm like, oh my God, we got to stop having them go outside, I guess.
Huh.
It's
fucking wild.
I lost just a tip because Joe exploded. So I don't know. Use a log. Don't analyze it too quick. That's it.
There's so much innuendo there.
Yeah, there is.
Just the tip and it exploded.
Hey, it's a live show. I mean, what do you want me to do?
It's true.
Next week's Just a Tip will deal with fucking corded headsets and how to use them when you're on camera. Prep it, Joe. It's all you.
I dumped an entire skinny margarita at Casa de Lisa because I was in a different room because they needed the banquet room for a private for another event. So we're like, oh, we'll try doing this in the bar. So I took and I had like a sort of a flat surface, and I did the same thing with a cord. Like I tripped over something and it dumped an entire skinny margarita all over the floor. I was like, and it was a good one too. Kristen mixed a great one. Sorry, Kristen.
You guys can collaborate for next week's then. That was it's a sad state of affairs.
Cord management and how not to fuck it all up.
I will add to the Just a Tip. So I think I've told Sean and both of you guys, I started logging this year. It's actually right here. Got it right here. Here's my fishing log. So my big and like you guys both told me, do not go back and look, write your shit in and fucking leave it. And that's what I've been doing. My biggest thing is because I'm new to it, sometimes I forget to log my trips. So then I'm like, oh shit, I forgot to log that trip from 3 days ago. Then I'm like, oh shit, what the fuck did I catch that day? And what did I catch it on? So that's the thing I'm trying to get better at now. But it's great. I can't wait for a couple years from now because I tell myself I'm not going to look at it till then to see those patterns. But you hit it on the head. Like this summer is completely different from last summer.
Yeah.
So the pattern's going to be, the time frame could be different. I mean, the water temperature today was only 76 degrees. Typically you're up in like the low to mid 80s at some of these spots, So with all this rain and all this water flow coming in from their outside sources constantly, it's keeping the water temperature down. So the actually, what the bass are doing are kind of a little bit different than they were this time of year last year. So yeah, it's but you can see like, the way I look at it and I analyze it, because from what Sean's told me, like if I wait for 2-3 years, there's a good chance that, August 2 years ago was a similar summer. So then I can start to look, reverberate back to that and be like, oh, well, that summer was like just like this. So let me see what was fucking working or what wasn't working for me then. But like, if I look at, if I fish today, if I go to fish somewhere tomorrow and I'm like, all right, let me see what I went to, what I caught in April there and what I was using, obviously that's not going to work. But
It's crazy because like I can definitely see where you can look at something short term, and see like, oh no, there's a pattern. I've been catching them on this, and you're like, okay, that's great for now, but what happens over time? And then also like I think, and this I think has to come into play too. Like Sean, you're experimenting with your database spans a lot of different states that are significantly different than one another. Like you've got
You would be very surprised, and how much crossover there is. You know what I mean?
Yeah. All right. Okay. Well, my thought was that if you're fishing in one specific area and that is different, and you're doing that over a long period of time, like for me last year, I dedicated so much of my year to one body of water. So, like, if you put me in a situation, and that body of water has more grass and wood than anything, but if you put me in a body of water that's primarily hard bottom with a lot of rocks, that information doesn't necessarily help me because I don't really have the experience to deal with it. So you've got to diversify what you're doing so that those patterns can kind of become visible.
Yeah, I mean, like, surprisingly enough, I cannot tell you how 2 not even full day trips fishing in Florida, 2 half-day charters. Mm-hmm. Well, actually, let me think about this. 1, 2, yeah. Well, no, 2. Well, 2 of them, but there was a third charter I took that didn't really play into this. But 2 half-day charters, hell with it. One of them, I got one tip that made me rethink the way that I read water when I get to it, and it's the basis of everything I do in Massachusetts.
Oh, really?
It is absolutely.
Huh.
One little thing that Floridians love to do, and I flipped it up here, and it's incredible, the results. Because again, like we've talked about this in the past, no matter what media you're looking at, unfortunately, unless the article or unless the podcast or unless the YouTube video says northern, it's unspoken that everything means southern.
Yeah, pretty much.
We have 2 species of shad up here, and they're basically ocean bound. There's hickory shad in the ocean off Rhode Island because somebody introduced them there. And then we have American shad, which are not like, they're not, I mean, they're river run going to the sea. They grow up all year. The fish feed on them and the baby herring, and they go away.
Yeah.
But that's only, I mean, I can think of, because of dams, I mean, the Connecticut River doesn't have them all the way up.
Nope.
You know, the Connecticut, the Charles, I don't know if they get into the Nashua. It's only rivers up here where we have shad.
Yeah.
But how many articles do you see where the word shad in fishing, in bass fishing is
all the time?
It's everyone.
Yeah.
So let's take shad out of it, replace that with bait fish. Now we're talking for the north, you're talking shiners, you're talking golden shiners, which Florida has.
Yep.
You're talking perch, you're talking bluegills, which bluegills are all over the country. Yellow perch are not. They're distinctly northern. So like, if you get that out of the way and just remember that this is all southern based for bass fishing, and that's where the audience is. Sorry, northern anglers, I'm one too, but I'm a realist. They're not talking to us. You can kind of do a lot of stuff and try to find things. And if you go to fish in the South, and then you can find the parallels that the North has. I'm not kidding. Like, there was one tip I got. It was a joke at the time, and it's almost the basis of almost everything I do up here.
No shit.
With certain types of water.
Yeah.
But you'd be surprised at how much, like,
it crosses over.
Yeah, this weird thing where I can use some different things. I can use this technique at a lot of different times, and it's amazing. It's a foundation of my fishing.
No shit.
Minnesota taught me how to use braid. I was horrible with braid, never used it. And then I got a lot of lessons up there, taught me how to play pike. And even to the point where I learned that in the North, regardless of species, I don't know if they see this in the South, but when the water warms up, we can see that initial ice out. Everything hangs out together.
Yeah.
Everything. And it doesn't matter what species it is, but they hang out by size. So you'll see smaller chain pickerel and smaller pike hanging out with smaller bass and bluegills and crappie. And I don't know if that's around in the South, but that's in the, in the ice out. Well, then the question begs, what's the missing thing here? Where are the big fish? Big fish are probably hanging out together.
Yeah.
And they do that. Big fish of different species will tend to hang out together. A good sized pike might be able to take down a 20-inch bass, probably won't, because they're looking for dead stuff or smaller stuff.
Yep.
If you're finding big pike, you might find big bass. Hence that last tournament I won. I actually stopped bass fishing at noon and started pike fishing And when I targeted pike, I caught the lunker largemouth and the lunker smallmouth in the same area with the lunker pike. Like there's a lot of parallels. The more you go out and fish at different places, and if you record it, that's a huge thing.
That's the purpose behind the database is you've got to have it recorded. You know,
you have to. Yeah, our human memory is infallible.
Yeah,
Bobby, you and I, and we dance with Grampy's fucking sleepy time tobacco constantly.
Yeah,
I can look through a database of now, what is it, 14 years?
Yep.
And not only for individual lakes, but I can say, well, this lake has a dingier tone and has timber.
Yep.
What are the lakes have I fished like it, and what's been successful?
Yeah.
You know,
no,
there's all these things you can do. You know, that last Champlain trip I took.
Yep.
I caught everything on one specific color that I use nowhere else, but I did have success with it at Candlewood.
In a similar
deep, clear lake with rocks.
Yep.
Pre-spawn for smallmouth. It doesn't work any other time of year.
Yeah.
So that's why, what if I had gone out on that Candlewood trip, had success with this one oddball color, right? Mm-hmm. And then replaced everything with it based on one trip or one, whatever. I pre-fished once and then fished the tournament for 2 days.
You would basically be hoping you land on those specific conditions where it's going to perform.
If I'd recorded those conditions.
Yeah, exactly. That's making that assumption. Yeah.
But now I'm hell bent on, well, I can catch smallmouth with this color anywhere, and it's not the truth. It was those specific conditions.
Yeah.
Now I've seen it twice. Now I know it's a pattern. I can do this at clear lakes, and I can be successful with it. So,
and I think you make a good point there too. It's like we talk about the puzzle or these puzzle pieces. A lot of people think that the bait is a piece of the puzzle. It's really not. It's everything else around it that will guide you to the bait you want to throw. You know, the stuff that surrounds it, the conditions, the weather, the trends, like the water condition, the clarity, the color, all of it. The structure, you know, like what is it that you're going to do? And there's certain things that you have to take into account, you know, like when you make a selection with a bait, because I feel like that is the puzzle. The puzzle is those surrounding elements. And then, like I say it all the time, I'll be like, I used my head. I actually paid attention to what was going on, and I said, this is what I'm going to throw. You know, because I know that these are the conditions that this will lend itself toward. This is what I'm dealing with, you know? Like I had a swim jig, a chatterbait, and a finesse swim bait tied on for separate situations. When the weeds were more sparse on Saturday, I was throwing a finesse swim bait. But when it was really, really thick, heavy shit, it was all chatterbait and all swim jig. You know, because I could get through, you know, that stuff and not break off another finesse swim bait, you know, or I would throw a Ned to downsize if maybe like that swim jig was too, that happened multiple times. Like there would be a tap on the swim jig and then I would follow it up with a Ned and boom. Oh, there we go. There's another smallmouth. Beautiful. You know?
Yep.
Yeah. No, it's interesting. That database is huge and there's a million ways to do it. The more people I talk to, they have other ways of doing it. Like yours is by far probably the most akin to fine, super detailed bits of information, and it's filterable, which is a huge deal. But like the main thing is just to gather the data and then use the data in the best way that you can. So
I kind of wince. I know a lot of people do this, and I hear this a lot. I wince when people say, I'm just recording it on my GoPro and I'll figure it out. So there's so much you're not recording.
Yeah.
That's detailed. And now on top of fishing for 8 hours, when I go into my database, when I enter it, I don't think I've ever had a day where it took me more than 20 minutes.
Yeah.
How are you going to comb through hours of footage if you're in a tournament and you're 8 hours, or you're pre-fishing and you're out there for 9-10 hours? How are you going to comb through all that and remember your timestamps like that? So that means you're writing it down. Why not just write it down and skip the whole video editing process? I know people do that anyways, but like, again, after all that's happened in the past couple months, I am stepping far away from kayak tournament fishing. I am good. But I always had a laugh knowing that all these guys that finished on top of me and were fighting
that
with other
sounds so
folks
filthy.
I know, it's gross. Finished on top of the standings in
There
front
you
of me,
go.
right?
There you go. Okay.
None of them were keeping detailed logs like this.
Yeah, none
It
of
would
them.
make them so much better. And they're worried about, I have to buy this, I have to buy that.
Yeah.
But they're not paying attention to what they're doing. They're paying attention to what other people are doing.
Yeah.
And you have to just be brutally honest with yourself. And you have to go out. And it sucks to write down one day that skunk. I've got skunks in there. It happens. You get skunked. It sucks to write down one entry log for a lake that you've just been to, and it's a bluegill.
Exactly.
It sucks.
And you
Fucking
invested 6 or 7 hours, and you're like, fuck. Yeah.
But you can
there's-
also write in my note section, those of you guys who've seen this, like in the note, I'll be like, caught one bluegill, had one hit on a crankbait.
Yep.
Noted. And then I put the color in there. So that's somewhere to start the next time I go out. But like, people don't care. People don't want to get into the habit. Joe, I know, like you said, I mean, you guys have seen me when I fish.
Yeah.
When I catch a fish, I put my rod down, and as soon as that fish is thrown back into the water, I write down what I caught.
Dear diary,
Yeah.
caught myself a rock bass on a hot dog.
You know?
And then people ended up on top of you in the standings because of the hot dog.
Yeah, they're finishing all over the place. It's like, Jesus.
Gross.
You know?
So there's your tip. Don't get jumpy with your fishing log. Give it 2 or 3 years. And next week, How to Podcast with Wired Headphones by Bobby and Joe.
Perfect. I love it.
Listen. I
You
reeled
pretty
that
bad.
back in pretty good.
You did. You did all right. You really did. Let's go ahead and talk a little bit about Florida. That actually sounds really, really, really fucked up. But what I want to talk about here is there's 2 things. First, there are 2 submissions for FTG that came through a couple of listeners and friends of the show that have reached out and shared some stuff. And one of them we're going to start out with. This came from Adam Blomeke. Adam had shared a video, and actually, I think somebody else also might have sent this to me as well. This happened in Florida, where a video was released. Somebody had recorded a guy in on the water on a jet ski with like 3 or 4 different manatees under the water, and he was just like, you know, messing around like right on top of them, like firing up his engine and like blowing donuts and shit like that, like just all kinds of shit. And I was like, what a fucking degenerate, what an absolute piece of shit. Who does this? You know what I mean? And it pissed me off like to see it, but then it got me thinking, why the fuck were other people? Because you can hear other people in the background like, somebody do something, and nobody did shit except record the video. You know, like fuck all those guys.
That's what they do nowadays.
Yeah.
And that's how our society is now.
It's unbelievable.
You know, it's very unfortunate. Everyone, instead of you know, what for whatever, you could have a piano fall on your head while you're walking down the street, and guess what?
Yep.
No one's going to help you. They're just going to take out their phone and get ready to put it up on social media.
Could you? They all think that they're working for like the news media, and they're like, no, this is some people need to know about this. I'm documenting it. It's like, wow, you're a piece of shit.
Just want to get those clicks, man.
And, you know, I mean, you know, we had mentioned that we were talking about in the pre-production meeting before we started even streaming, we talked about how manatees are protected animals. Mm-hmm. So the odds are that if this video did come across like somebody's desk, like hopefully this guy is paying some unbelievable price. You know, maybe a bunch of other competitors are finishing on him. I don't know. Maybe it's a bunch of people in prison, perhaps. I don't know, you know?
On the topic of manatees, while we were discussing this, I happened to mention, I said, wow, did you guys read the news about what happened to that manatee at a zoo somewhere? I don't even remember where it was. I don't care. And you both said, no, what happened? And I said, well, one manatee died, and I'll just say it straight up, from anal sex from another manatee. He was mounted by a brother manatee in the tank, and you both said, come on, shut the fuck up. And then we went on Google, and both of you said, oh my God, this manatee died because its friend manatee in the tank.
Do you want me to read the story?
Pumped it to death. Yeah, go ahead.
I have it. So, all right. So this comes from NBC News.
Oh, it came all right.
Yeah, it did. Oh, you know what I'm talking about? Oh. So it comes. Oh God, I can't stop. Jesus Christ. A manatee who died in a Florida aquarium this year sustained fatal injuries caused by sex with his brother, officials said. Hugh, 38. Was his last name Janus? Hugh, 38, died unexpectedly on April the 29th at the Moti Marine Laboratory and Aquarium in Sarasota, which this week shed more light on the animal's passing, saying the injury was most likely the result of sex with his brother, Buffett.
What the fuck?
Moti insisted that Hugh's handlers never believed he was in any danger. On the day of Hugh's passing, Hugh and Buffett engaged in natural yet increased mating behavior observed and documented in manatees both managed in care and in the wild. The aquarium said in a statement that this is the first time such heightened mating behavior was witnessed between the two manatees. A necropsy performed by the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission's Marine Mammal Pathobiology Lab found that the fatal wound was a, get this, 14.5 centimeter long tear in the ventral wall of his colon.
Oh.
Hugh and Buffett were both observed initiating and mutually seeking interactions from each other throughout the day, and there were no obvious signs of discomfort or stress, such as listing, crunching, or active avoidance that would have triggered the need for intervention, the aquarium said. Keepers didn't try to physically separate the manatees during sex, fearing that would do more harm. Following the direction of the veterinarians, distractions rather than physical separation was chosen because separation has previously caused undue anxiety and negative effects in both manatees, the aquarium said. In an effort to redirect the manatees' attention and decrease undesirable behaviors, animal care staff used positive reinforcement tools such as high-value rewards and enrichment that had previously been successful. You can have a poor outcome in these kinds of situations either way sometimes, said Janessa Jatelma, an assistant professor at the University of California. I can't say whether they took the right actions or not. Only the people there would know for sure. Managing these wild animals under human care, it's not always a straightforward situation. Sex between male manatees, even brothers, is far from uncommon, apparently. They're not too meticulous about who their partners are. Sounds awful. They just have this kind of sexual urge, and they'll engage in activity wherever with whomever seems to be in the area. And if that's a female, great. But there are not enough females found around there, and only males are around, and they may express that sexual behavior on whatever individual may be in the vicinity. As generally solitary beings, manatees don't have a strong sense of familiar structure, leading the encounter between brothers Hugh and Buffett. That context of whom is related and whom is less of an important factor of their social engagements and interactions. What a wild-ass story. Pun intended.
So, yeah, the biggest thing I got out of that story
oh God.
was
that
when
tear.
No. When they didn't intervene because they thought that might be more harm.
They might do more damage, yeah.
Or do more damage, yeah. And hindsight's 20/20.
Yeah, it's
Well,
true.
I mean,
I think all the damage was done.
Is it like dogs? They got to pour cold water on and shit? Like,
They spray them with the spray like you spray cats.
And what's like a
off 'em.
high value reward? Do they throw like a PS5 in there? Like, what's going on here? Oh my goodness! I gotta. It's wild. It is just. It's a wild world out there. Jesus. So
custom made story for Jigs and Bigs.
it really is. I mean,
Hot off the
100%.
press.
I can't even believe that shit. That is just bananas. These poor ass manatees. You know, and I thought the only weird, sexually deviant marine-based mammals were dolphins.
Apparently not.
Yeah. This makes dolphins seem like decent folks. Have you guys ever seen that episode of King of the Hill where Hank gets sexually accosted by a dolphin at an aquarium?
No.
10 out of 10. Definitely recommend it. There are.
I didn't watch a lot of King of the Hill, but I'm gonna have to watch it now.
Oh my God. It's such a insane episode. It is ridiculous. But there's a two-part here. So this jet skier with the manatees, like absolute piece of shit, like not surprised. No, this is what jet skiers do. This one really, really got me. Now, Jeff Caldwell had sent me this link. It comes from Spectrum News 1 out of Worcester, Mass. And the story is, it says, Worcester engineer Jack Duffy Protentis and his team tested a prototype for an electric jet ski Friday on a local lake, Lake Quinsigamond. Duffy is legally blind and said that he became interested in recreational vehicles after not being able to drive, but knew that they were bad for the environment. He said that there are many benefits to his, quote, e-ski prototype. Wait, hold on a second. So this guy can't legally drive because he's legally blind, which is terrible, and I feel for him. I genuinely do. Don't bring that shit on the water. Like, just because you can, like, how does that make sense?
Yeah, it's the whole jet. I mean, we could have a complete episode about jet skis. I get it. You know what? I have a side-by-side. I love riding that thing.
Sure,
And I bet you there's a ton of people that hate it. But you know, I can take sides because I have that privilege. I'm going to tell you I fucking hate them, and you know why I hate them? Because a majority of the people who fucking ride them are idiots. If people just rode them normally, we would never even have all these conversations. Yeah. But it's always a bunch of fucking
dipshits,
ding dongs that are fucking driving these things and just causing fucking havoc. It's insane.
So I got to tell you, like, what drives me nuts about this story is that I'm assuming that this jet ski. So I'll go a little bit further. He says, he goes, for one, there's an environmental aspect. Duffy says that a jet ski can commit up to 250 pounds of CO2 per hour versus ours. There's no carbon emissions, which is great. But I imagine that being like Prius, a Toyota Prius or any type of not even like a hybrid car, but an electric car. You can't hear them shits. So let's take something, a recreational watercraft that is absolute chaos because of the audience that's using them and the care that they put into their times out there. And let's make the fucker silent. Like, this the one thing that as a kayaker, like I look forward to is I can hear a boat approaching, you know, and I was like Saturday when I was out on Onoda, I was, the wreck boats were starting and I knew when they were coming and I was like, all right, cool. I just got to watch my back now, but like, how many videos do you see of like jet skis just like crashing into boats or docks?
We talked about that. It just happened locally.
Yeah.
Because what we found out later wasn't the jet ski using the wake of a boat to do tricks and shit.
I believe
lost control of the jet ski, and that's awful. I don't.
I'm not. We're not going to get political. We're not doing that. I'm going to put my tinfoil hat on for a second.
Okay.
The thing that gets me, and I do a lot of research about shit because I'm a nerd sometimes, whether you believe it or not. The whole carbon emissions things fucking boggles my mind because have you ever seen a fucking lithium mine? It is not less carbon emissions. That's what I'm going to say about that.
Joe, here's the deal. How many lithium mines are there in the world?
I think 12.
Okay, how many trucks do they use?
A lot.
To get that shit. How much equipment do they use to get? We put out more carbon emissions in one fucking corner of the country than all those mines do over the course of a year. We do that in a day.
All right.
You see what I'm saying?
Fair. That's fair.
We're putting tons and tons and tons of that shit into the air. And I get that argument. I saw that pop up a few places, and then a little more research and a little serious thought about it. There's no comparison. There's not even. I'm honestly, you know what? Probably what a really good argument is on it, on fucking carbon emissions. Mm-hmm. Goddamn cattle.
Yeah,
because of the methane.
Yeah,
that's a problem.
Cow
Methane's
farts
just as bad.
Yeah.
I'm not saying. Look, I'm not a vegetarian. I had a burger today.
I have too.
Yeah, inadvertently, over the course of my life, I like seafood more than I like red meat.
Yeah.
It's not like I dislike red meat, nor do I dissuade anyone from eating it.
Yeah.
I just like seafood better. But the fact is that cows shit a lot and they fart a lot, and there's a lot of methane in that shit.
Hey, some hosts of this podcast fart a lot too.
I just did.
I'm sorry for
After eating cow, I do it.
after eating everything.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's
It's just to me as somebody who likes to recreate on the water, I feel like you're basically taking like what is a giant projectile on the water, and now you're putting a silencer on the gun. Come the fuck on.
I mean, it's kind of like I used to ride a motorcycle. I was in a club and all that. The whole like loud pipe save lives. I mean, it's because, people don't pay attention.
You know
like
that.
It's
you don't think about it that way, but it's true,
Yep. Because guess what? There's so many, and I'm thinking it in the aspect of like the safety for them. Like granted, you can't, I don't know. It's tough because you're right. You do a lot of stuff you do on the lakes, especially these busy lakes, is you're listening to what not only looking at what's going on around you, but you're listening.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's especially you as a kayaker, just like you said, because guess what these dipshits on these fucking jet skis aren't doing? Looking for kayakers.
Nope.
They're just going balls to the wall, seeing how fast they can get that fucking thing going and see how many donuts they can do.
And it's not like there's like fucking brakes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's not like you can be like, oh shit, I'm going to step on the brakes and I'm fucking like, no, it's like you're a little bit more out of your control. So like when I read that line about the guy who's like, he's legally blind and he got into, recreational water vehicles for his engineering because he's able to use them. I'm like, dude, I'd rather you be in a car.
Yeah.
Or like, come on.
But I get it. It's, we're progressing. We're progressing at how we do things as a, society and whatnot. And that's kind of, electric vehicles and everything. That's it kind of, I don't know the science behind it, but water and electricity don't mix. So I don't get it.
Yeah.
I'd actually like to see how it works, just, out of curiosity.
Oh, for sure.
But yeah.
Like, I remember there isn't a week that goes by that somebody doesn't send me something posted about those angler ski-doos. Like those angler jet skis that are designed for fishing, that have a live well and rod holders and stuff like that. People are just like, oh my God, look at this. And you know what? I think that generally, if you want to go and fish and use that method, and that's you want to spend the money on that, you're probably not going to be the douchebag that's going these high speeds for whatever. Like your goal is probably to fish, but that's not the situation. And you get all these folks on these bodies of water, and like then you add alcohol to the mix and a silent jet ski. Oh my! I can see this ending magically. Magically. I'm gonna end up buying a bunch of land and just fishing that one pond.
Technology is progressing. It's just that it'll be they're already doing the same thing for boat motors. I know they're I know there's already patents out there, and they've been testing them for boat motors. So it's the way we're going.
You're gonna end up seeing speakers on these things that go like.
Doesn't Tesla have something like that?
They do.
Okay.
Yes, they do. They just play audio, and I'm like, okay. I mean, that's something to be aware of, So,
Bobby, it's so funny because when my first newer F-150, when that EcoBoost, that 6-cylinder EcoBoost motor came out, they actually had a thing that came through your radio to make it sound like a V8, and I was like, oh my God, how do I shut this?
Yeah, because you're like, come on,
this is so dumb. Yeah.
Bobby, when this technology comes to pass and we're on kayaks and we need jet skis going by with a certain flavor of audio, there's one noise I'd like to make when I go by people.
Oh, I think I know what it is. Yeah.
Oh, there goes Sean. Hey, Sean.
I might buy a motor for my kayak just for that. Just for
I
that.
might not even. Hey, wait a minute. What was that noise? Well, that was Sean. He doesn't have a motor. He's paddling today.
You know what the most terrifying part of that is these electric motors are way faster than the combustion motors.
Yeah, they are.
So that's the other thing too.
They take off like that.
Yeah. So now you're getting an even more dangerous machine out there.
Yep.
Yeah. That's all I gotta say about that.
Oh, Jesus. Well, it's time to shift gears because we got vibrating jigs to talk about.
Jigs and Bigs. Bait of the week.
I love that open. It's the simplest thing, but damn, I love it. So, I was considering what I was going to talk about for bait of the week this week, and the topic of chatterbaits came up primarily because I don't fish conventional sized chatterbaits all too often. I've caught great fish on them, but I generally don't. They're not my first thing that I think about. I like to think of them as like a dirty water bait. You know what I mean? Low visibility, like you need the vibration. Okay, same thing. And it's kind of the same thing with like a lipless, except, it's a single hook bait. It's, a little bit more versatility with trailers and things like that. So there's some different things that you can do with in terms of all that. But to me, generally, it's a dirty water type bait. But I'm also starting to kind of understand that it is a good bait for grass. And I've really, really, really kind of steered clear of that for quite a bit. And also the chatterbait has, from even when I started fishing, when you had the original Z-Man, original chatterbait, which is still the chatterbait that I buy simply for the cost, for the most part in the conventional size, I find that they've come a long way and now you have so many different options to choose from. Oh, goodness. What was this, Sean?
Whose phone was on?
That was mine.
Oh, my God.
All right.
I am going because I want to be more educated, Sean.
I like
Continue,
it.
Bobby.
I like it.
Yep. Sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt everything. I thought everyone's phones
Oh,
were
I
off.
thought you were trying to steer me on a chatterbait thing.
Oh, absolutely not.
No, I had, I caught my PB smallmouth on a chatterbait. Oddly enough, like just junk fishing. Like it wasn't super dirty water or anything like that. I was like, I wonder if we'll bite this. And they did. This is also before I had any real data to kind of dial anything in or anything like that. But after this last weekend, and I really, really put a chatterbait through its paces on grass and just ripped it. And I got to tell you, man, I have... you can't even really see it now, but there was numerous times where I ripped this bait out of the grass, and it's pretty shallow where I was, and I had a jig coming straight at me. One of them was coming right from my face, and I put my hand right on my face like this, my sunglasses on and everything, and that jig hit the back of my hand so good. I was like, I can't believe I'm not wearing this as a piercing. Floored me. But hey, risk it for the biscuit, Where are you guys, like, as far as the chatterbaits that you prefer and how you like to use them?
Do you want me to go first, Sean?
Hit it hard. I got a lot to say.
Well, I'll keep it short then, because I actually don't use them a ton. I do, like you said, I typically use them in grass.
Mm-hmm.
Same. If I'm my preferred method of grass fishing is typically more of a power finesse, but as a search bait, I will use either a vibrating jig or a swim jig.
Yeah.
I typically, when it comes to, it's just there's a lot of things. I'm a big swim jig guy. I love swim jigs. So I kind of prefer to lean towards a swim jig versus a vibrating jig. But again, unless if it's super dirty water, I might lean back over. But I use it as a search bait in around grass. And then I usually like to follow it up with a finesse. But the two I typically use is I actually have this year, I like the Picassos. I like those a lot.
I haven't ever tried one, but I
Yeah,
know
it's
folks that love them.
they're it's actually a carbon fiber blade. They vibrate. It's a very quick vibration. If that makes sense. If you but I've actually have been using some jackhammer stealth blades this year.
Oh, all right.
And I like them because it's not quite as fast as a vibration as the Picassos, and I kind of like that. Those are typically my two go-tos. Again, I'm not a big vibrating jig guy, so I don't use them a ton.
Yep.
But those are typically what are in my box right now.
Are you, when you're throwing these, are you more like chuck and wind? Are you fishing them more erratically, or are you like doing like yo-yoing off the bottom?
That's great. So very rarely do I just chuck and wind on anything, whether it's fucking crankbaits, swim jigs, anything like that. Very rarely. I usually pause a little bit. I'll do a burn and pause. I'll do a wind and pause. That's just kind of a technique I've always had. You know, I was just doing that today, and that's actually what I was doing when I caught that big fish today. I was doing a rip and pause. That's typically what I do. Very rarely on any baits do I just fucking throw it and wind it. I'm usually I'm adjusting speeds. I'll rip it a little bit. I'll burn it a little bit.
Yep.
Pause it. So
I think most of my bites on Saturday were from yo-yoing it.
Okay.
Letting it go into the grass, ripping it, and then letting it flutter back down. And actually, now that I think about it, my PB smallmouth was the same technique. Cast it out till it hit the bottom, and it was just ripping it up into rocks, ripping it up out of the rocks, and then letting it come back down.
Yeah, it's I haven't really used the yo-yo method with a vibrating jig.
Yeah,
I'll be 100% honest.
Yeah,
I might have to try that.
And that's I think that's one of the things that I think sticks out for me when it comes to using a vibrating jig or a chatterbait is just. And also the size of what you're using, because I'll tell you, like when I was in, where the fuck did I fish in Tennessee? I want to say Coquitchuit, but that's not it. Fuck. When I went with Chickamauga, yeah, and Chickamauga. Now that water was crazy low vis. Low vis, but I was throwing those JDM, the Jackal, super finessey ones, and that was just a chuck and wind, and it was just getting smashed. And it's funny, like the rate of vibration, I think plays more of a role than I think some folks think it does. You know, like that bigger blade vibrates at like a lower frequency, the smaller the blade kind of hums.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's kind of nuts.
Yeah, I remember you telling me about those earlier in the year on an earlier episode, and I actually meant to give them a whirl, and I haven't yet. So
same. I never ever got mine. I bought a couple of Z-Man Mini Maxes to throw them, and sadly they were in that freaking bait bag that got lost along the way. So that sucked. But now, what about you, Sean? Now, because you've got a lot of experience with chatterbaits.
Yeah, give me 1 second. I'm actually bringing something up just to illustrate it, right? So I'm gonna make a recommendation to you guys.
Okay.
All right. You know how I just said about Southern baits and their Southern techniques and how that's all we read or hear about, and we have to do this and we have to do that. I've never yo-yoed a lipless crankbait or a bladed jig in my life.
Oh, really?
Ever. And I never will, because everyone else does it and has varying degrees of success.
Yeah.
And I am a chuck and wind guy with both. The only time I get any variation out of, only time I get any variation out of the chatterbait, and I'm not talking about ripping something out of grass, because you're going to get. I just chuck and wind. You're going to catch grass. I pull it out. That's what happens.
Yeah.
The only time that I do anything different, I haven't done it in years, it was a night technique, is during my cadence of reeling, every fifth rotation, I would give it a quick jerk. a little. I mean, it was
Yeah. 1, 2, 3,
so
4, 5.
light.
Doom.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2. See, I'm doing that with my right hand.
Gotcha.
Quick little jerk, not letting it fall. I concentrate on finding a depth that I run this thing at. So I'll figure out their rate of fall. Usually my first cast with a combo is I'll let it drop, see how long it takes to get to the bottom.
Yep.
Then I'll usually cut that in half. So if it takes 5 seconds to get to the bottom, I'll let whatever it is, lipless or a chatterbait. I know we're talking chatterbaits here.
Yep.
I'll let that go halfway and I'll start there. I'll cut the water column in half.
Yep.
All right. But I do not do anything but chuck and wind.
No shit.
And I keep it generally slow. Again, the only time I get a variation is that one time I did it at night. Now, that one time I did it at night, the conditions were right. That was the night I hit the, 100+ inch bag, or as a weight fisherman knows, I caught a 25-pound bag.
Yeah.
It was fucking amazing. It was in the rain. It was during a new moon. It was at night, and it was killer. And I had 3 spots that I wanted to hit. I felt where fish were, and every one of them turned up a 5-pounder. As far as what brands and what models I use, I really rely on 3. Okay.
Yeah.
My number one, no matter what, is a 1/2 ounce Z-Man Chatterbait Elite in 3 colors.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get into that.
Yeah. Colors are pick your poison.
Yeah, exactly. So I use that. That's my workhorse. I use that everywhere and anywhere. I've won tournaments with it. It's been crazy. It's been something else. The other 2 are specialties. One I use in water under 3 feet deep. I will just use a plain old buy it at Walmart Z-Man chatterbait. And so I've used a half. It's 3/8 or less. Like I use a small chatterbait so it doesn't sink. So I can throw it reel and I don't have to worry about it going 2 feet to the bottom in a second. The second it takes me to click the bail over and get the slack. So I keep those in the same 3 colors. And then the final one, which I've talked about at length, when I'm in a lake with big pike and a huge pike population, I will throw that 1 ounce or bigger, 1.5 ounce Picasso shock blade. You need a pike rod for that.
Yeah.
It's no joke. A large bait rod is probably going to be too stiff, like a swim bait rod.
Yep.
You got to use a medium heavy pike rod. And I'll throw that with 20-pound fluoro and no leader and hold on, because I've caught numerous pike over 30 with that.
Yep.
Which is funny, the biggest pike I ever caught was 40, and I caught that on 15-pound test. So take that for what you will. But I use 20-pound fluoro straight, no leaders, nothing.
You were just barebacking.
Barebacking constantly. And the amount of bass I've caught in 20, 25 feet of water running a gigantic Picasso shock blade, usually with one of those Z-Man razor shads on the ass end of it. It's so much fun. It's hard work. It makes frogging for a day look like going for a walk.
Yeah.
But running a ounce and a half fucking Picasso shock blade is amazing to do when you've got a good pike lake.
Now, when, I've heard this before, like folks will set up a technique specific combo to throw chatterbaits, and they'll say like, I can use on my workhorse, combo. I can throw, like a 7 to a 7.3 medium heavy fast. They'll throw spinner baits and, swim jigs and all kinds of stuff. But then when they're like, but when it's a chatterbait, I want more of a parabolic tip. I want a more medium action, or a more moderate action rather. What do you guys think about that? Like where do you weigh in with that? Like
that for me, that's trendy and new. That's not
okay.
That's not traditional.
Gotcha.
I throw the same rod that I throw a lipless crankbait with.
Yeah.
I throw a chatterbait with.
Yeah.
A medium heavy fast action.
And I'm the same way. I just have a different rod that I like for it.
For that parabolic action, that's great in open water.
Yeah,
you're crankbaiting. Throw that in grass. It's going to be a lot of fun trying to pull that fucking through. It sucks. Your rod's going to double over. I like that stiffness. It gets it through that shit because I use it everywhere. You can use that rod that I'm using in open water, and there's no problem with it.
See, I use a 7.3 fast, and but I don't want to throw that stuff on like a 7 because I just want a little bit extra tip for when you get those bites where it's moving,
I mean, I use a 7.1, I think, and I don't have any issues with it. I go down to a 6.10 if I needed to. I don't really care. I mean, the big thing I think is making sure when you have that chatterbait bite, you've got to have it. It's weird because it's a moving bait, but it's a single hook. Yeah. We don't have a lot of those.
No.
So you want your, man, I actually open my drag up more with crankbaits. I have it semi-tight. I have it about the same as a lipless crankbait. Again, that's why I use that same combo for both.
Yeah.
And actually, I doubled up that combo this year. So I use one for chatterbaits and one for
lipless.
One for lipless, and they're the same. Oh, no, I'm sorry. That's wrong. I have the same combo set up, one with 14-pound XPS fluoro on it, and the other one with 12-pound XPS fluoro on it. One is open water, one is not. That 12-pound is more for open water with lipless and traditional crankbaits, but I can keep a lipless on that and keep a the other one, the 14 for the chatterbaits. When I looked up real quick, so since 2009, right? And I know I didn't update my logs for a month and a half, but I have 3 fish waiting. All right. My total amount of fish is I've caught 6,932 fish plus 3. So 6,935 fish since 2009. Okay. So we're coming up on 7,000 fish.
Jesus Christ.
All right. 407 of those various species were chatterbaits. All right. That seems like a small number, right? So what's 7,000 divided by 400? 20%?
Yeah.
That sound right?
It's sizable.
Yeah. But considering how much I throw jigs and I throw Ned rigs, which I consider jigs, like that's probably the bulk of what I catch fish on.
Yeah.
And when I look at largemouth over 17 inches since 2009, bass jig. Oh, I'm sorry. Let's start at the top. Plastic creatures alone, so not on a bass jig, 81, right?
Yep.
Then I've got 62 fish on a bass jig, which basically I've said numerous times, I use the same trailer that I use to rig solo with plastic creatures, right?
Yep.
Then plastic stick baits, that counts. Floating Rapalas, jerk baits, that's 57. Right after that, 55 fish over 17 inches on bladed jigs, and those are bass, largemouth and smallmouth, right?
Yep.
So now, if I look at largemouth and smallmouth, this is where we're illustrating just a tip right here, right?
Yeah.
So since 2009, I've caught just shy of 4,600 largemouth of all sizes. And since 2009, I've caught just over 400 smallmouth, right? So that's 5,000. 5,000 of my 7,000 fish are bass. I'm rounding up or down, depending. It's not much, not by much, right? So 5,000 of my fish are bass. And then I'd have to look at how many I caught chatterbaits on. But look, out of that 5,000, 1% of them are over 17 inches.
Yep.
That's fucking crazy. And it's especially since most of them have come on jigs or Ned rigs.
Yep.
But big ones are coming on chatterbaits.
Yeah.
And they come more often on chatterbaits.
Huh.
So, I mean, it's nuts. You start getting down this rabbit hole of what you're doing.
Yeah.
Chatterbaits are nuts. And I can't even tell you how many pike. Tons.
Yeah.
Well, I could tell you, but I'd have to go looking for it.
Yeah, exactly. It's wild to me because a chatterbait has a reputation of being something everybody's throwing. It's a sexy power fishing presentation, and they're everywhere. You know what I mean? Like, you just cannot avoid it. Every single bait company now pretty much has a bladed jig up for an offer. And, you know, I mean, obviously, like, I think the jackhammer leads the way as far as being one of the most popular that are out there, to the point where availability is just crazy, or it has been in the past. And then at ICAST, Z-Man had announced that they have a new chatterbait. I mean, every year they have a new chatterbait that comes out, something that, you know, the Minimax was released that way, I think, and stuff like that. But this is supposed to be a completely in-house, heavy-duty chatterbait, like the jackhammer, but without that collaboration with Evergreen. And I think the idea is that this is going to fill that price point, and that's their goal. What do you guys think as far as, like, I know, Sean, you mentioned well, actually, none of us mentioned a jackhammer. None of us mentioned a jackhammer at all.
I did. Just the
That's right, the stealth blade. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. You're right. The stealth blade. Patrick Martin threw this in here, obviously, Klondike chatterbaits. I've got one, and actually, I did have two. I broke one of them off. They're great fucking baits. They are great fucking baits. It's funny. I oftentimes, and I think there's a certain category of angler that relates chatterbait fishing and spinnerbait fishing as being like almost like 6 of one, half dozen of the other. You know what I mean? Like the two you can go either way. But now, if you would have asked me that question 2 years ago, 100% I would have agreed. 100%. I would have been like, oh yeah, absolutely. They're basically interchangeable. Now I don't think that way. I really, things have changed a little bit. Like, I'm looking for kind of different things for a spinnerbait. And then, you know, you take like, I guess it really gets into like these single hook, moving presentations, underspins, swim baits. Just leave the shit that's got metal flapping on them. Underspins, spinner baits, bladed jigs, shit like that. But the chatterbait is probably hands down the most, the bait that folks reach for the most these days, I feel, you know? Do you guys agree? Actually, Joe, like, what do you think you were, from the retail standpoint, like, what were you selling more bladed jigs than you know, other blade baits?
I definitely sold more spinner baits than I did bladed jigs. Okay. Oh yeah, for sure. I'm trying to think of maybe why that is. Excuse me. I think spinner baits have been around.
They have.
I don't know the history. I mean, it's just something. I mean, like everyone's dad, fucking or grandfather, whoever.
Oh yeah,
had them throw on a spinner bait. The bladed jigs, I think, are definitely have been becoming more mainstream. For sure. I think a lot of that especially with certain brands, has to do with, you know, professional fishing and then being like,
yeah,
whether they actually use it or not. They're like, oh, I caught all this fish on a, you know, what fire craw jackhammer 2 years ago, where then they were all of a sudden they're $80 on fucking, you know, eBay.
Oh yeah.
They were popular. They were very popular. Yeah, for sure. I think next to spinner baits, they were definitely number two for sure. I don't like with me. I think it's just I hadn't caught a bunch of fish on them. Maybe it was my technique shit. I don't know, and I guess that's why I probably don't give it a lot of, you know, I don't give them as much try as I should. But they work. I know they do. I mean, Sean just gave us the fucking numbers. I know they work.
No, yeah.
So it's just kind of one of those things that I was more confident with them a couple years ago, but the last, you know, I did well with them a couple years ago. I don't know if I changed something or whatever, but they just haven't been very fruitful for me lately.
Joe, I'm glad you said that. I'm going to jump in here. I'm crunching numbers again.
Yeah.
All right. So like I said, I believe I said I caught 300 largemouth and smallmouth in the past since 2009 on chatterbaits, right?
Yep.
Just because you said that. So this is so weird. Between out of the 304 bass I've caught on chatterbaits since 2009, 91 of them came between 2009 and 2018. 2019 to now, over 200 fish on chatterbaits.
Wow.
Do you think it was just because you throw it more now, or in that last few years?
I stopped using spinnerbaits. I completely. I mean, I keep 2 models of spinnerbait handy, but I never use them.
Yeah.
I keep one for night and occasionally one for some dark water because it's a night one.
Yeah.
But I mean, I have found my use of chatterbaits and the fish have responded to it, and I just know what conditions to throw them in. Like I said, that last tournament, it was a calm morning.
Yeah.
And everyone was working the shore. And as soon as the wind picked up, I did what I do in Minnesota. I went and found a weed bed in deeper water and ripped a chatterbait through those weeds, and it paid off big. You know, but yeah, 200 plus fish in the past 4 years. 19, 20, 21, 22, and 23, 5 years. Well, this is the 5th year, but and almost all of those have come on those, well, I would say all of those have come on those 3 models. It's all I use.
Right.
A really light original chatterbait, a 1/2 ounce chatterbait elite, and then a 1.5 ounce fucking shock blade.
Shock blade. Fishing in the Sticks chimes in. He answered the question I asked a little while ago. I said, what conditions do you like? What specific chatterbaits are you into? He says muddy, low vis water, and flirt skirt's been a good one for him. I've heard a lot of people I know like the flirt skirt stuff. I've never used them. Pretty crazy stuff. But what about trailers? Are you like one specific trailer, Sean?
I use 2. That's it.
Okay.
I use that razor shad for the big ones for the shock blades.
Oh,
and I've seen again a lot of people in the South love putting a chatterbait with a razor shad on there, a regular either a jackhammer or anything under 1/2 ounce.
Yeah.
And I have not had any results with that. I just don't.
Yeah.
With either of my Z-Man models that I use, all I do is use Kitex.
Yeah.
Kitech swing impacts.
Yep.
They're flippity floppity flew all over the place, and they don't impact the vibration. Where I've had some trailers that impact the vibration. I've settled on these and I like it.
I will say this much: that Kitech is a way more spastic action with a chatterbait, I think, than the Fat Impact for a swim bait. The Fat Impact just has such a wide swing back and forth. So I can understand where people would kind of think that gets kind of nuts.
So actually, the Fat Impact I don't use because it doesn't have that swing all over the place. It's more rigid.
Yeah.
And it stays straighter than the swing impact. The swim impact is skinnier, and the swing impact goes all over the place.
Swing impact is insane. Yeah. The fat one, though, that's what I'm saying. On its own, it's got that wide, but I think its rigidity, because that blade just causes chaos, I think it just fucking sits in its zone.
It straightens it out.
Yeah.
It straightens out the chatterbait because it's too thick. It's too thick with C's.
I have thrown a number of different trailers, and the swing impact Kitechs are amazing. I know a lot of people out there like the spunk shad style, where it's just a straight point that comes all the way down. And what's interesting is this last weekend when I was out, I lost a tail on one of those Kitechs, and I felt the presentation looked so much like one of those swing impacts, and it's same thing. I feel like it's got a little bit more thump to it, though, when the paddle tail's in place. Like it kind of kicks a bit harder. The other trailer that I use is like a creature bait.
Yeah.
Like a D-bomb.
I think Nelson was using
like
something
this.
similar for a while.
Yeah, like a Rage Menace, because I can put them in they kick. And I've had results on them, but my thing is, like, I'm just not 100% sure. I just do it based on my mood. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, oh, this is a little bit bulkier. Like, let's try moving, upsizing somehow. So I may do that. I don't know. I'll be honest, like chatterbaits are one of those baits where I still am. I have a lot to learn you know? And I've had some
Yeah.
decent results, but I often end up choosing them because the other stuff that I have confidence isn't working. And I'm like, well, let's try this.
Yeah, I mean, that's how it's how you learn. But I mean, there are some guidelines out there and all the media that we can consume showing like, hey, cloudy weather, hey, wind. I mean, that's just motion baits in general.
Yep.
And then it's just narrowing down again, like this database for me has
I was
been
just
a
going to bring that
godsend.
up. Yeah. That's where the database is important, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe I just have to fucking throw more. Lead with it.
Well, in the right conditions,
In the right
you know,
conditions. For a
even if
moving
it's
bait.
calm, nighttime.
Oh, well, yeah. It's a different animal.
Nighttime.
It's a
And
different
then,
animal.
well, you watched that one time we went night fishing last year where I said, I'm going to give this spinnerbait a try. And then the minute I switched to a chatterbait, it was fish after fish after fish after fish. And I'm pulling it through weeds.
Yeah.
I'm reeling it incredibly slow. Like I believe it was last year when I went on my tirade about Lou's not making left-handed 5 point, whatever it was,
Yes.
5.31 retrieve
That's how
reels.
slow you're throwing them, huh?
I'm throwing incredibly slow.
No shit.
Whatever I'm doing is different, I guess.
Yeah.
Because I don't drop them. I do the same thing with lipless crankbaits, and I also I really have a lot of this luck in cold weather. You know, and Nelson did. You know, he's confirming right here. He has more success with a craw trailer. So there's been a couple times where I've been out with him. We're throwing the same chatterbaits. One time at a local pond where he kicked the shit out of me, and I'm like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "I've got a craw trailer on. I'm letting it chatter on the way down. It's doing its thing on the way down." He was throwing it basically in holes and mats, and I said, "Wow, I've never thought to do that here." And then another time we were at Champlain, and he had the exact same chatterbait as I did, except he had the original model and I had the Elite.
Yep.
We were in deeper water, same weights and everything. And the Elite, maybe because of the painted head, maybe because of the painted blade at the time,
Was a little too heavy.
No, just I was catching fish and he wasn't. It was fucked up.
Really?
Like,
Okay.
Same exact identical lures, and the only difference was the chatterbait Elites have a painted head to where it's more like if it's a shad or a perch or whatever, they color it that color, and he just had one with a black head, and that might have been the difference. But it was crazy. I mean, one day we were at that smaller pond, he was pulling in trophy largemouth, and I'm like, "What the fuck are you doing?" And he's laughing. He's like, "This," and I said, "I would never think to do that." And then at Champlain, that one time we went up, actually the trip that was when you were out on the boat with
Ian.
with Ian.
Yep.
I was smoking pike, largemouth, and smallmouth. And he said he was using the same exact thing and couldn't get a bite. But the only difference was I had a realistic painted head. He didn't.
Yeah.
And then it was the exact opposite at this other pond. So that's like another illustration and just another tip. Don't do stuff that people do just because they're doing it in front of you.
Yeah.
There's something else that's going on. There's an X factor. Maybe it's their read of the water. Maybe it's their motion. Maybe it's the way they reel. You don't know. Maybe it's the speed of their reel. Write down what you're doing. Find your strengths and play to them. Do not play to other people. It's always good to get a tip from somebody.
Yeah.
Like I have to give Nelson credit. He gave me a tip last year about a certain drop shot bait. He knows I've struggled with drop shotting.
Yep.
And he said, "Well, did you try these?" And I said, "No." And I gave them a try, and I feel now confident because that bait has done it for me.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, just whether it's chatterbaits or whatever, and getting back to this tip, keep a log, keep a detailed log.
Yeah.
Analyze it after there's a lot of data. You've got a mass data to analyze. Find out what your strengths are and fish with them.
Yeah.
And
the
as
name
far
of the
as
game.
chatterbaits go, throw them. Yeah, they're good.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's, and that's where I'm like, again, like not looking at my records so that I can see what kind of a pattern is, but I owe it to myself to throw a bladed jig more often, to at least keep it in the mix, to at least see how it performs.
And I'm glad you said that word pattern.
Yeah.
Because now when we do this as anglers that are documenting everything, we're not looking for a pattern in the fish or in the water. We're looking for the pattern in ourselves as anglers. That's huge. Like you can't get that out of an article, a YouTube video, nothing. This is you on the water. Like I mean, you still throw a jerkbait, right?
Oh, yeah.
Bobby?
Yeah, absolutely.
So you know that fish will bite that because you've caught your personal best on that.
Yep. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, you gotta document everything. And I'm not saying a chatterbait's gonna work. Just like Joe, you said you haven't had any luck with it for what, 3 years? And then I immediately said,
Yeah.
200 plus bass that I've caught largemouth and smallmouth in the past 4 years.
Well, because of this conversation, I'm going to throw the shit out of it the next time I go.
That's what I'm saying. Don't. Don't.
Just
if it's not working for you, it's not like you're going out and getting skunked. You're catching fish, but if you write everything down and then look back after a couple of years and say, what have I been doing? You know what I mean? Like I had to look at chatterbaits and go, what the fuck? Why have I only caught 4 fish? But like,
why are
two
they
of them
all
were 3 pounds and 2 of them were 5 pounds? Like this is very bizarre. Everything else was a pyramid. Every lure I had was a pyramid.
Yeah.
So I could see little fish, medium fish, and fewer big fish ascending.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden I look at chatterbaits when I go through my records and I'm like, I've only caught 4 and they're all big. What the fuck? And I know where I can think of those 4 fish off the top of my head where I caught them. And it's just very bizarre. So I took that and kept it in mind and then slowly implemented chatterbaits, made sure I didn't throw them out with everything else. And then combining a couple other techniques and a couple of like ways to hone that. And all of a sudden I feel, it's one of the first lures I throw. I always have a chatterbait tied on.
Yeah.
I might not throw it in calmer stuff, but if there's a hint of wind, a hint of clouds, a hint of rain, especially rain, holy shit.
Yeah.
It's chatterbait time. I think chatterbaits overcome the noise from rain and fish can find them easier. So
I've heard that before and I agree, man. I think, noise period, especially when you've got something for a short period of time, like rain, you've got to stick out as much as you can. And like, let's be honest, the chatterbait for sure is going to do that in spades, Crazy, man. You're crazy. I think that about sums up this this segment right here. We will see you guys in a couple of minutes. We're going to wrap things up quick with this show. I'm going to tell you guys a little bit of as I've been recording this show right now, I've been texting back and forth with a potential guest I'm going to try to record with tomorrow morning. So we'll see what happens if they're here or not. We'll see you guys after this. Don't go too far. More Jigs and Bigs coming up. Hey guys, Bobby Roast Beef here from Jigs and Bigs. If there's one thing I can't stand spending money on, it's on something that's not versatile, something that I can't get a lot of use out of. I want to talk to you about Frost Buddy. What Frost Buddy is it's one of those can coolers. I've seen these before. In fact, I have some that are limited to only fitting one specific size of can, like a standard 12-ounce can. I stumbled onto Frost Buddy, and I was blown away with it. So versatile. Fits standard cans, tall cans, slim cans, and even 12-ounce bottles. And the magic is the insert fits all of these items in various stages within the insert. And when you take that out, you can fit a full 16-ounce tall boy can. In fact, it even doubles down on being versatile with the coffee lid. And on my recent trip to Chickamauga, I had a field day with this thing. I was throwing beer cans in it. I'd have coffee in the morning. On the drive, I was throwing in all different sizes of cans for different canned coffee products to keep me awake on the long drive back. The thing was amazing. So I recommend you check out Frost Buddy. If you're in the market for either a travel cup for your coffee or a can cooler at all, either one of those, check it out. For the money, you cannot go wrong. What I've done is this. In the show notes for this podcast you're listening to right now, if you look there, you'll find a link to Frost Buddy where you can get yours. And not only can you go and get your Frost Buddy there, but you can help out the show as well. Go and visit that link in the show notes to this podcast. Check out a Frost Buddy. Tons of colors, tons of patterns, all kinds of great stuff. And it's a great spot to put your Jigs and Bigs sticker too. Take it from me, Bobby Roast Beef. You're going to get the most versatility out of this one product, probably out of anything you're ever going to buy, especially for anything that you're drinking. Frost Buddy. It works for me. I'm a happy guy. Jigs and Bigs is your favorite fishing podcast, right? Why not show the world how much you love the show while directly supporting us? We have men's and ladies' shirts, hoodies, and a variety of hats. We even have a waterproof outdoor Bluetooth speaker so you can listen to your favorite podcast while out on the water if you like. Check out jigsandbigs.com/shop to visit the store and gear yourself up. If you really can't get enough of this show, consider becoming a jighead and joining our Patreon. It's a subscription that gives you exclusive access to recording sessions that allow you to engage with us as we record the show. We also have some exclusive content there just for our jigheads and even have some special promo codes. Space is limited, so join now at jigsandbigs.com. Finally, if you're local to our area in Western Massachusetts, consider checking out the Western Mass Fishing Report, posted weekly at northeastwildwoman.com. We have amazing contributors providing great content and info for local conditions and what's been going on and working recently. Jigs and Bigs, so much more than just two lightly roasted hippies trapped in the 90s arguing on the internet about fishing. Would you look at that? Produced the entire game show last night while texting the guest to record on Monday morning so I could edit and put this together. I'm running on all 8 cylinders, folks. It is wild what's happening here on Jigs and Bigs. Guys, I am joined again I am joined by no stranger to this show. I've got the one and only Fishing with Becca with us. And Becca, the timing couldn't be any better. I did have a guest that we were supposed to coordinate to get some stuff on. Didn't work out, so we're kind of playing phone tag, trying to make this thing happen. But as it happens to kind of work out, you just came back into the country.
Yes, sir.
Pretty cool, and you did so with your white pickup. You came back from Canada.
I know.
I'm very excited to see this stuff.
I'm excited too. I got 2 videos out of it, but I think it the goal was to make one really, really good quality storytelling video that I'm so excited about. And then I had to cut the trip early anyways because of Miss Sky, which I'll explain later. But it was awesome. It was definitely awesome.
That's wild. Now, I've been following on your Instagram, and I think on your story you posted something. You met up with some family up there, didn't you?
No, I went with no, what did I post on my story?
I thought there was somebody one of your cousins said we're looking forward to seeing you or something like that.
Oh no, on Facebook. So
that's what it was.
I just found out not even maybe 2 months ago. I literally have family in Quebec.
Oh, very nice.
And no one told me, bro. And I've never met them. And she's, I think her name's Sandra. And she's so souped and she wants me to come up and see her. So I'm probably going to be back in Canada pretty soon because Quebec, I haven't even been to Quebec yet. So
my God.
I'll go down.
Well, so I've only ever been to Canada twice. I've been to Niagara Falls with my family. My wife has a cousin that lives in the Buffalo area. So we had one summer, our trip was to go to Niagara Falls and visit them while we were there. So we got to, enjoy all the things that the American side of Niagara Falls has, which is
seriously nothing. There's nothing great about that.
It's ass.
It is. But what is nice is that Buffalo as a city gets a shit rep because it's not a bad situation over there. It's kind of fun. It reminds me of where I live in Massachusetts. It's a really, really small city. Kind of be a tough city, but there's interesting nightlife if you're willing to look for it and not too uptight. So I
drove by. I mean, it wasn't anything crazy.
Oh yeah,
I feel like it definitely gets bad rap though. That's for damn sure.
So we had gone to the Canadian side of Niagara Falls, and it was amazing. Now, my first time in Canada was on my honeymoon.
Ooh, where?
We went to Montreal, my wife and I. I've got actually pretty amazing stories. That trip was insane. But I'll tell you, the big one was that there was one day where, my Holly wanted to go and shop. So we went out, we were, going to different shops that she wanted to go to. And we had just had lunch, and our plan was to have dinner at this restaurant. And I'm going to mention the restaurant in a bit, because I think you and I should camp in the area and venture to this place, because this place is insane. It's the best restaurant I've ever eaten in my life, and I'm a guy who has eaten at a lot of places. You know what I mean? I know a thing or two about a thing or two. The restaurant's called Au Pied du Cochon, and my French is terrible, so pardon me. It is amazing. We found out about this place because Anthony Bourdain wrote the foreword in the chef's cookbook. The chef is Martin Picard, and he's got a variety of different restaurants. I'm fairly certain this one is still open. But, have you seen the movie Ratatouille?
Oh, God. Fuck yeah.
Okay. All right. So, you know exactly what I'm about to say.
Little Remy.
You know the scene where the food critic takes a bite of the dish that Remy prepares, and he has flashbacks that bring him back to childhood?
Yep.
I had that happen at that restaurant. Upon opening the door, just the smell of garlic, butter, and rosemary just smacking you in the face. It is wild, but it's so non-pretentious. That's the best part.
I would so go.
Yeah.
I mean, we go to your favorite restaurant, and then we should go. The best restaurant I've ever been to was in Denver.
Where?
I also Denver, Colorado.
Oh, I want to go to Denver too. It's been years.
I did that. I would say, sorry if you live there, but Jacksonville and Denver are my least two favorite cities I've ever been to.
Really?
I didn't like Denver at all. I love Colorado, but I would only go back to Denver for this restaurant. It's called Garden and Grace, but it's It's you got to dress up nice, but it is the best food I've ever had in my life.
Really?
Okay. I think it's a steakhouse, and we got steak and wine. Oh my God, dude. It was so good. You just have to come with $400.
So, yeah. All right. I think what we're doing here is we're formulating some time that we need to, because I want to do a real far west trip.
Let's do it.
I really,
my new rig.
Yeah. I would love.
Have I showed you my new rig?
Yeah, we talked about some of that stuff that you can't talk about just yet.
I can't. I know it's so frustrating.
I'm so fucking excited.
I want to talk about it so fast.
I know. It's so actually this ties in perfect with your last video. So the video you put out, this was just yesterday. It came out on Sunday, and it was this video is fantastic, guys, because number one, Becca reconnects with Riley, and you've probably seen Riley in other videos in the past. In fact, if anything, Becca and Riley have a unique sort of relationship where he seems to always make her push her elements out of her comfort zone.
Time.
Yeah, and
but that's just an everyday life for him too.
I know.
So, and it's I love him so much because he pushes me to do these things, and he's the only person that I hang out with here and there, where I've had 2 major panic attacks with this kid, and he handled them both incredible. I got this one. Have I told you about that time when Norm came to Maine?
Oh, where he fell through the ice?
No. Well, yes.
Yeah.
That
Okay.
didn't happen. But so one of the nights I was supposed to film this video, it was negative 23 degrees out. And Norm was like, we're going to film a good video. We're going to go out and ice camp. And I'm like, all right, I've ice camped a million fucking times. Of course, let's do it. And Riley was like, oh, it's 10 minutes down the street. It was an hour drive.
Yeah.
I had no cell service. It was negative 23. I was already lack of sleep, and something just triggered me. And we put up the tent. It's pitch black out. The heater gets put on, and I get in my sleeping bag, and I start freaking out. I'm shaking, and Norm, his cameraman, and Riley, no one noticed. And I just have a panic attack for 30 minutes. And I'm like, oh God, dude. I look at my phone. I have 1 bar. I text Riley, and I'm like, dude, I'm not doing okay. And he was like, yo, I can see you shaking. What do you want to do? And I'm like, I need to leave. You need to bring me home. And he was like, all right, cool. he never told Norm or his cameraman. We just hopped in the car. He drove me an hour, dropped me off at his cabin.
Yep.
Drove an hour back. Just to like bring me. Dude, he's such a good friend. It's crazy. I love that kid.
Dude, that's amazing. So
and Lila trusts me to camp with him because of that. She's like, oh yeah, like you and Riley can
he's got your best interests in mind and knows like when you've had enough.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah. There you go. Because it's wild. Like you were. So I'm watching this video and you were in Maine in the last video that came up, camping on a mountaintop. Essentially, which was amazing. By the way, your drone footage up there is just chef's kiss.
The morning? Oh
my God. The lightning strike. Like I
didn't even notice.
Yeah, I saw it and I was like, she's got to mention that at some point. And then for some, I must have gotten distracted and just assumed you had. But it was gorgeous. I'm like, that is wild. Like
and that was so trippy when I read that comment. I was like, what is he talking about? Like, did I say something stupid? What do you mean, like, lightning strike? And then I click it, and my jaw just hit the floor. I'm like, I filmed it. I saw it visually with my eyes, edited it, rewatched it, uploaded it, and still didn't even see it. And like,
that's insane.
I'm happy I kept that
for sure
video because then I would literally have no idea.
Yeah, it is. I mean, if you guys haven't watched, go to Becca's channel and watch the latest video that she's got there where she camps on top of a mountain. If for nothing else, the drone footage is amazing. But so I'm going to show you a couple of pictures that I just want you to take these in and appreciate. I put myself in a situation where I was way out of my element, and I think you'll be able to appreciate these. So I'm going to do a little bit of a screen share right now, and I'm going to share this and take a look. Do you see that right there? That's my truck.
All right. Just doing Forerunner things.
Yep, and that's what we're doing. So I'm going to set up this story. Now, this area out here is nearby my house, and there's a local farm where they're actually marked roads, but it goes through all these different fields. There's trails all over the place, and I like to, I'm not really much of like an off-road guy. I'm supposed to be doing an episode of Budget Overland with Benji, and talking about like how touching into overlanding is going to help me extend my, fishing adventures and everything, but how it's like traditional overlanding, off-roading and stuff, that's not my bag. Plus, this is my daily driver. I'm not looking to break anything, but I like to get it kind of muddy and then go and wash her off, Yeah. If I'm going to take it to the car wash, I might as well get my money's worth out of it. So I use this area and I'll go especially like after it rains or something, and I'll go and just kind of like tool around a little bit. There's a couple of, there's actually one specific spot that's kind of technical. It's this little off the main trail connector, and there's a sharp right angle and a hill, and it's pretty dicey. It's really, really close quarters. And the first time I had gone through there, I was like, okay, we'll test our elements, but it was dry. The next couple of times I went through there, it had been pretty muddy. So I was like, all right, and it's right near the Connecticut River. So like it could go really bad. There is a little bit of element of danger there. So this one day, I got the whole family with me. My wife and I have done this before. She's had some fun. I went with my youngest daughter, and she had a blast. And this one day, like, the whole family's with us, and we're just like, oh, let's go for a ride. And we make our way back here, and what I like to do is just get in the mud, in the puddles, and then just, like, gun it. Let's just let mud fly all over the place,
Oh, yeah.
I should say I have a just absolute stock TRD Sport Forerunner. The TRD Sport, I mean, this is a very well-equipped vehicle, but there's certain elements of it that are not ideal. Like I've got 20-inch wheels. You know what I mean? Like I've got great ground clearance, because of it, but I also have the more road oriented suspension system in here. So, again, like I'm more about like gravel, dirt roads, getting me to the ramp, like when I went to Moosehead, stuff like that. This was a little bit outside of like we were pushing it here. So this puddle that you're looking at is where I got stuck with my whole family. That puddle, now after, getting there, I've realized I've never seen this dry. It's always there.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can see enough, but there's little black specks in the water.
Yep.
Those are tadpoles.
All right. So it's basically a mini pond.
It's a tiny pond. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I go over and you can see the ball of my trailer hitch is nearly submerged. I
wish I was there though, because like I see all these people get stuck on YouTube, and I'm not saying I'm capable of getting you out of that, but it would have been so much fun trying to get you out. Like you can like shove a rock under that. Like I would have loved to try.
You know what's interesting is, so we tried a lot of that stuff. In fact, there are, in the process of, I dug up some stuff underneath there, just spinning my wheels trying to get out, like floor mats that people had tried to use as, what do you call them?
Traction
boards. Yeah. They try to use them as traction boards, and it's like you have a floor mat, like just chilling there. They're all over the place. I'm like, oh my God. So, okay, I'm not the only one here. But in an effort to make you feel better about your situation, like, you know how tall I am. I'm not taller than my truck. Look at that. That is ridiculous.
Oh, Jesus, dude.
So
but that's why I get vehicles like that. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah. 100%. You're absolutely right. But in order to make you feel better, I needed to call and get rescued. I had to call for, thank God we had cell service. But the recovery company that I had reached out to that was right nearby, they were the closest to us. I reached out to them. The most challenging thing was finding me. So I was taking a picture of my location, a screenshot, sending it to him saying, this is where I am. He almost got stuck with a flatbed. I'm considering putting a winch on, which means to do so, I think I have to change out the entire bumper on that front end.
Have you ever watched Matt's off-road recovery on YouTube?
I haven't.
Okay, now
I'll
I feel
check it
like
out.
I'm pretty sure it's Matt's off-road recovery. You got to watch him. He's not like, he makes his whole channel is just like getting people out of like, I believe he's in like California area. So he'll go to like even like Utah and Arizona and like rescue these people out of like Moab and like the national parks and people who, but he does it for free because he makes money off the YouTube videos.
Oh,
he doesn't charge people. So like anyone will call him, and the amount of times this dude has almost died recovering people is absolutely insane. But you should check it out because it'll also make you feel a hell of a lot better.
I should, because it cost me $300 to get out of that fucking spot.
Dude, when I got stuck up in Maine on the snowmobile trail, I was told it was going to be like $5,000, and I mean, it's expensive.
Like, how on earth do you possibly, out in the middle of nowhere, you know what I mean, pay that? Like right there. I was so lucky we had cell service where we are.
Yeah, I was also lucky that I had enough cell service to call Riley and send him my like location, because half that snowmobile trail I didn't have anything, and then I got to like a bridge area where I got stuck.
Yep.
And that's when I actually had cell service. It's so scary, like getting in a situation like that and not having cell service. Dude, my anxiety would be like, meow.
That's exactly what it was. And I'm sitting there. I got my both my daughters, my wife with me. The
whole family.
My youngest was relentless, busting my chops about this too.
Oh, you're never going to hear the end of it.
Oh, it's terrible. My wife actually, I think, kind of felt bad. She's like, it cost you a decent amount of money that you weren't planning on spending. So let's, I think you kind of got the worst of it right there. But, now that's the thing. I left this one sort of like technical section, and I was feeling good about it. My confidence got the best of me, and that's where we ended up. I did not realize how deep that freaking puddle was. Holy Jesus. And the tadpoles, that was the worst part. I'm like, insult to injury. I'm like, how many frogs did I kill?
Whatever. The population is fucking insane. I'm literally not even near a pond, and I was walking Sky near the apartment today, and she almost ate a frog. I was like, how is there a frog here, dude?
Yeah.
They're everywhere.
What are you doing? So the trip was good. I'm excited to see the rest of the videos, but I think we're gonna go ahead and play a little bit of a game. And we're gonna play overrated, underrated. Overrated, underrated, but we're going to play a special edition.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land.
It's going to be good.
I'm so into it. I love Canada. Oh, God.
I really do, too. I really, really do too. So I before you had signed on, I had gone through and I did Google search of things that were just items that were like truly Canadian. And I found a couple of sites, and I'm going to go through them. We're just going to talk about some of these items. One of these items, and the first one, I know that you enjoyed while you were up there, and I'm curious what your thoughts are.
Ketchup chips.
Yeah, Lay's ketchup flavored chips. It's a real thing in Canada.
Yes. I've had every single brand of ketchup flavored chips in Canada because when I went the first time, I literally I had Lay's and then the kettle one. Like I had at least 10 different brands. I tried them all. Amazing. Every single one is amazing.
So
Hands
not overrated. You're saying, if anything, probably underrated, huh?
If you haven't tried it, like I feel like you can't live happy until you had it. It's just an unbelievable experience. They are so good.
That's something to know. It's something to keep an eye on. That's good because what on this list, what's interesting is there's just I'm finding like all of these terms that are on here, like a 24 pack of beer they call a 2-4 in Canada. A Mickey is generally a 13-ounce bottle of liquor. A 26er is what we would call a fifth, a 750 milliliter bottle. And then they call 40 ounce bottles of beer a 40 pounder. But there's a bunch of other random stuff in here, like the ketchup chips. First, that I saw they have a picture of it. I was like, oh yeah, I saw this on Becca's story. But there's also there's a Lay's Swiss Chalet chips.
Oh yeah, I saw that and I wanted to grab it, but I'm pretty sure there's dairy in it, so I couldn't.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Gotcha.
There's so many things I want to try in Canada, and they have dairy in them, and it's like, oh God, why do I have to have dairy out?
There is a flavor of potato chip that I think I've heard of before, and it sounds amazing. They call it all dressed.
No, I didn't take a picture. That's what I bought. I had in that picture posted on my story. I literally had the all dressed and the ketchup ones on the boat.
Nice.
All dressed is really good. I don't like the all dressed Lay's flavored one.
Oh.
There's a different brand that makes the all dressed, and it's way better in my opinion.
So the next one, Tim Hortons.
Oh my God.
Overrated, underrated.
You know I don't like coffee.
I know you don't like coffee.
I had a coffee every single day. I had 2 every single day in Canada.
Really?
From Timmy, little Timmy's. I think I would give up every Dunkin' for Tim Hortons. So I think in a way it's underrated. Like it is that good.
So it's funny you mention Dunkin' because I famously have I loathe Dunkin' Donuts. I think
I do too. I don't think it's bad at all.
And it's gotten no. I think it's horrible. Like I hate it. It's terrible.
Oh, I thought you said love. You said low. Okay.
I did say loathe. Yes, it's god awful. And it's gotten progressively worse. Like in the 90s,
smaller portions.
When I first there's zero consistency, and I think in the last like 20 years, it's had a big drop off. So when my wife and I had gotten married, we actually had taken pictures. The entire bridal party, we stopped at Dunks for iced coffees on the way because we got married in April. It was like a 90-degree day. It was ridiculous. The wool suits, stupid. So we stopped there, and on our honeymoon, that coffee was passable for takeout coffee. On our honeymoon, we went to Tim Hortons, and then we were kind of like, yeah, this is kind of like Dunks, like the Canadian Dunkin' Donuts. All right, I get it. Now, what's interesting is, so I don't know if I ever told you about this, but when I worked in television, I used to run TV stations all around the country. Yep. 2 of those actually were from Rhode Island, Channel 12 and Channel 5.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, WPRINNAC. And part of my job was to run commercials. And they used to have Tim Hortons commercials. So there were at least a couple Tim Hortons that were in Rhode Island.
No way. When?
Yeah, this would have been in like the early 2000s, like maybe 2005-ish.
Dang, I think it's so much better. Like I don't think I've even had a Dunkin' coffee because I don't like coffee, but
well, and if that's your barometer for coffee, there's nothing to like.
I think Tim Hortons is just like, I just think it's so good. The Timbits are good. I got a wrap there, and then I got like the chicken sandwich there. I don't think I've ever had anything that I wouldn't like just like crave every single day of my life from there. I think it's just so good.
I think the food is much better because I think it's like actual real food, not just like vending machine stuff. That's it, which is really kind of nice. But when I was in Buffalo years later, and then actually now that I think about it, when we went to go pick up our youngest puppy, Eleanor, we went out to just outside of like Dayton, Ohio, and on the ride back home with her, we stopped at a Tim Hortons to give her a little chance to walk around a little bit and, you know, kind of get out of the car. And my wife and I got coffees there, and they were surprisingly good. So I feel like as the descent of Dunkin' Donuts has continued to go downhill, I think Tim Hortons has been consistently good, you know?
I agree. I mean, if I had one in Rhode Island, I think it would be a game changer.
Yep.
Like, I really like it a lot. It's just like quality. The portions are great. The coffee was fantastic. And like it's just like the experience is so much better. And like people at Dunkin' are so mean. I don't think I've ever had a worker that hasn't like given me so much attitude.
It's true. It's true. It's ridiculous. Although I'll tell you what, it's funny. I just got a request for a game show in Cranston later this month. And the first thing I thought was like, oh, sweet. I can get Mary Lou's while I'm down there.
Yes, Mary Lou's is
Mary Lou's is great.
Yeah, Mary Lou's is pretty untouchable. I'm not a big fan of their corporate side of things because Lila actually worked there. And if you go to Mary Lou's, try to find someone who's not a young, very good-looking female. They don't hire guys.
No, they don't.
They only hire like skinny, good-looking girls, and it is creepy. It is very creepy.
It is. It's a little like the Hooters for coffee.
Basically, but it's great coffee.
It's freaking fantastic coffee.
Yeah.
And it's just like, it's funny. I did a wedding in, where was it? It was in Massachusetts. I forget exactly where, but there was a Mary Lou's built into like a Sunoco station.
Oh, hell yeah.
I was just like, shit, you don't see that. I mean, of course they were closed, but it is what it is. While we're going down this food channel in Canada, where do you stand on poutine?
I think it's great. I did have a bite. The second time I went to Canada, for the biscuit with the dairy thing. Yeah, I think it's great. I just think it is. I think it's a little overrated in the fact that like anyone can get sick from it because it is just literally fried and like fried potato and cheese, and it is like. Yeah. How is that okay for us to consume?
No, especially the way that just people consume it like crazy. You got to have the cheese curds. Like in America, they will, you'll find poutine that's got like shredded mozzarella as the cheese. And you're like, what are you doing with your life?
Yeah.
It's out of this world. I saw this show up on a number of lists. Butter tarts. Did anybody mention these while you were in Canada?
Butter tarts.
Yeah.
What does it look like? I might have seen it, but I definitely haven't had it.
It looks like a small pecan pie.
Butter tarts. Oh no, I did not see that.
Yeah, I've seen this pop up on a couple of lists. I was like, really? Okay.
Whoa, those look really good. Okay, I can't give my answer, but they look fire. That's my answer.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Fair enough.
Is there pecans in that shit?
In the pictures, it doesn't seem like there is, but the description says
not. It's literally butter, sugar, syrup, and egg baked in a pastry shell. That sounds ungodly.
It sounds amazing, but that's going to be terrible for you.
I'm still gonna try it.
You're gonna
can't stop me, won't stop me.
That's what I like about you, Becca. You're willing to go for it. So, this is the list I primarily wanted to go through. That kind of surprised me. Overrated, underrated.
Okay.
Canoes.
Underrated.
Underrated. Okay.
I think it's way better than. Did I tell you I sold my kayak?
Yeah, you did. You did tell me you sold your kayak.
Ever since I sold it, it was the best decision. I think canoes are so much better than kayaks.
Really? Why is that?
I watch Xander Budwick, Lost Lakes, Joe, and like all these people on YouTube who do like, backwoods like canoe trips, and they just throw their canoes over their heads and walk 3 miles for a portage, and you're good. Like they're lightweight. They can hold me, Lila, and Sky. They can hold more gear. You can go whitewater rafting in them. Like Dude, I just think they're way more capable than I think kayaks are overrated and canoes are underrated.
Really? Okay. See, I feel like kayaks for fishing are the way to do it. I think canoe, like, because oddly, I just bought a canoe.
Yep.
This week. It's my cousin was selling another cousin of mine a trailer, and he had this canoe. It's like an old Field and Stream single person canoe. And he was like, yeah, he's like, I figured I'd hang on to you and see if you wanted it. I was like, yeah, what do you want for it? So he was like, he gave me a price. I was like, that works. And I'm probably like never going to use it. I just want to have it on hand for if I want to take the day and go fishing and both of my girls want to go, because I've got my other Ascend, which is for them, that thing, it tracks like shit. It's just, they won't really necessarily have fun with it. The first thing I'm going to suggest is they take and just paddle around with me with the canoe. You know,
canoes are so much fun. I feel like if you're getting a kayak, it's not even a kayak anymore. It's basically a mini boat.
Oh, I say that all the time about my kayak. My kayak is a bass boat for one. You know,
it's so heavy, dude. They're so heavy. I don't know. Like, I just like am going through a phase where I think kayaks are just not for me.
I'm doing a build, little bit of inspiration on your build at the tiny house. I'm really kind of customizing some stuff. I'm building my own sort of, I hate using the term overland, but overland style kayak trailer. This is going to house a bunch of camping stuff for me, and it's going to be like sort of ground zero. So I can, keep the kayak right in there, ready to go, secure, but I've got all my camping gear and workstations on both sides, and I've got all kinds of good shit going on. Like, I want to do awnings, and I want to have additional kayak storage up on top so that I can bring somebody else's kayak, the canoe, my other kayak, whatever it is, and kind of mix things up a little bit. My goal is I really want to get my wife out camping this year, so I'm buying a Gazelle tent. Yeah, because we're not going to sleep in the Forerunner comfortably. It'll be ridiculous.
Well, that's why I wanted a new rig, period, is just so like, me, Sky, and Lila can camp comfortably. That's really what I love solo camping, but it's so nice to have the option to camp with more people.
Oh, for sure.
My new rig claims it can sleep like 3 people on the top section, but people can literally sleep on I could probably fit 6 people in it.
That's crazy. And yeah, again, like, I know what she's getting into, guys. Wait until you see this. This is going to be insane. This, I feel like, is the best possible situation. And I think that, like, if you combine what you're getting into and then you utilize a small trailer to bring some type of watercraft, be it a canoe or a kayak, or, you might even be able to, that's pretty tall. You might not want to put a canoe on top.
Well, I don't want to, give it away, but I am getting roof racks on it too. Yep. So, it's not as tall as you think without me. Like, it goes.
Gotcha. Oh, it's convertible like that.
Yeah, it goes.
Oh, that's so fucking cool, Becca. I'm so fucking psyched for you.
They need to build it faster. They just need to. They need to keep building. They need to keep going.
They'll get on it. It'll be good. I mean, this is going to be a good thing all around. So yeah, canoe, you're saying underrated. Apparently they're claiming on this website that there are, canoes were carried by indigenous people for thousands of years. For many Canadians, it's become a symbol of the country's vast wilderness. So that's the kind of tie in. We heard a little bit of this. The Canadian national anthem. Overrated or underrated?
I think the American national anthem is just so good. I love our national anthem.
Star Spangled Banner, yeah.
I just like it. I don't know what it is.
I had a trivia question this week about that song.
It's good. It's just when I watch a hockey game and we sing I get so hyped. I'm like, hell yeah. I think it's I don't know. It's subpar. Maybe a little underrated. I just don't think anyone could beat ours, so I'll go underrated.
She's going underrated. Let's say, all right. So for so my trivia question this week for that involved the Star Spangled Banner. How many times in the Star Spangled Banner do they say America?
I don't think they say it once.
They don't say it at all. They don't say it at all.
I don't think we say it.
Nope, they don't at all. And I feel
Canada
like
is, oh, Canada.
exactly. Like I feel like Canada,
You're trying a little too hard, Canada.
Yeah, I agree. I actually agree with that statement. We don't even need to say America. The song's just that good. Get on our level.
Yeah, it's like slow your roll, guys. Ginger ale.
Oh, I love ginger ale.
Me too.
As someone with stomach issues, literally the one thing that calms my anxiety when my stomach starts hurting, I'm like ginger ale.
Yep.
Ginger ale. I love it.
What's your go-to brand? Like your favorite?
Oh God, Canada Dry.
Oh yeah, man. Canada Dry Zero Sugar is where I'm at all the time.
Always zero sugar.
All the time.
It's so good.
Yeah. I'm a big fan. Now, do you prefer ginger ale to ginger beer?
Yeah, I like ginger ale better.
See, I do prefer ginger beer because it's a little bit over the top with the spice, and I'm a little bit over the top on my own in my own ways.
Yeah, yep. All right.
But yeah, I will enjoy, a Canada Dry. In the graphic on here, actually, I just realized it says Canada Dry right on there.
Hell yeah.
It's so good. Now I know overrated or underrated.
Hockey.
Oh wait, did I give my answer? I think it's underrated.
Oh, you think ginger ale's underrated? Fair.
So good. So good.
So this one, I know you're gonna have some strong opinions on this. Overrated or underrated?
Hockey.
Oh my God, underrated. So I think hockey was like either last place or one of the last place for viewed sports.
Oh yeah, it's been forever.
And it's like so painful because I played hockey my whole life and I fished, and I've always just thought to myself, I should just live in Canada because of those two things. Because Canada and America is like, I mean not Canada and America. Hockey in America is like, it's so low on the level. It hurts my heart. I think hockey is so underrated, and people are like, I think it's not as loved because you can't just like pick it up. Like you got to learn to skate, which is like, other sports you're using your legs. Like, congrats, you know how to walk. But like with hockey, you have to literally learn another skill with your legs in order to play it. So people aren't into it. But like, dude, you just beat the crap out of each other. Drink beer. Half the people don't have teeth. They're bleeding on the ice. They're scoring goals. They're screaming. Like, come on. That is so underrated.
Yeah. Yeah.
I swear to God, I'll cat meows one more time.
You're throwing hands with the cat.
Dude, he's so, oh God. I mean, I think everyone knows at this point, Lila and I adopted a cat.
Yep.
Such a little, I wish you could see the way he's looking at me right now.
Just needy?
He's just like so vocal. He will scream at, like if we go away for 2 hours, we walk through that door and he's screaming at us because we left.
Yeah.
Like he's just vocal. Like I feel like he wants to speak, and one day he's just gonna just start talking.
Like Salem from Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
Yes, basically. I still love him to death, but he just talks too much.
That's wild. Yeah, I would say, I knew you were going to say hockey was underrated. I knew it 100%.
I love hockey so much it hurts. Like I'm so obsessed with it.
Let's see. What's the next one? The Canadian flag.
I like it. I love the maple leaf.
Yep.
So I think if you don't like the Canadian flag, you're a little whack for that.
Yeah.
I think it's cool. I think it's underrated.
Fair enough. I can get behind that. This is one that I love. Moose. Overrated, underrated.
Yeah, this is so my first experience with the moose was terrifying, and like not seeing a moose for my entire life until like a year ago. Last summer was my first time actually seeing one, and I saw like easily 40 moose in the span of like a couple of hours driving through this road. It was probably like a 30-mile dirt road, and there was moose just everywhere.
Oh yeah.
And I can say, if I feel like a lot of people love moose, as do I love them, but I think they're overrated in the fact that they are actually terrifying.
Yeah.
The amount of, so this, when you're driving on a road, it's pitch black out and you see a deer, the chances of you hitting that deer are slimmer than a moose because the first thing you see are their eyes.
Yep.
And so you see a deer right away because they'll look at you, you see their eyes, whatever. Most of the time you might not hit them, but with a moose, they're taller than your vehicle. You're not seeing their eyeballs. You have less time, like a less time frame to actually see the moose before hitting them.
Oh yeah.
they're literally like terrifying. Like they can stomp on my truck. They're so big.
They're
and like
enormous.
The ones that I saw that time were absolutely massive. I think they're amazing and I love them, but I'm gonna say overrated because they're so scary.
Fair enough. That's fair. I had an experience like, I think the first time I saw a moose, I was probably in middle school, and I can remember actually the following morning going out. I was over at a friend's house, and there was this big field in front of his house, and there were moose that we had seen cutting through that field. So we went out and we measured the distance between the prints, and it was like 8 feet. It was ridiculous.
They are
They're
so
just
much
monstrous.
bigger. Like there's that Bass Pro in Maine where there's like a life-size sculpture of like a moose outside of the Bass Pro or Cabela's, whatever it is. And I saw that for the first time at that Cabela's like maybe 4 years ago. And I was like, oh, that's so like dramatic in size. And no, it's not, bitch. No, it's
accurate.
not. They were so big. I don't think people understand that they're literally this bigger than my truck. Almost all the ones that I saw that night.
Oh yeah, I saw a small cow come out from when I was leaving on the way back from Moosehead. We were coming back up the trail, and it just ran out kind of like diagonally across the road. I mean, I was doing like 15 miles an hour, so I wasn't concerned about hitting this at all. But I was just like, holy shit, just out like nothing, just right across the trail. And then immediately afterward, there was a big eagle that had come down and was flying right out in front of my hood for a significant period of time where I was just like, there's something up here. This is like too majestic.
Speaking of eagles, every time I get, especially this trip, I think I saw an eagle every single hour that we were out on that river. And I like never see them in America. Like I never see bald eagle. Like never.
I see them all the time in Western Mass.
I don't, but when I go to Canada, I see them all the time. And I'm like, dude, you're in the wrong country. Shit.
Yeah. Like, what are you doing? Vacationing?
Yeah, someone's lost. Jesus.
Overrated, underrated. I don't know why I'm reading this one, but Medicare. Medicare is Canada's system of universal health coverage born in Saskatchewan in the early 1960s. Overrated or underrated?
Oh, this one's so hard because I just listened to this podcast of this guy, Dr. Mike, talking about it.
Yep.
And someone like asked him a question and they were like, hey, like, do you think it's overrated or underrated, like paying for Medicare or whatever, like from a Canadian? And his answer was really, really good. I think it might be in a way overrated.
Uh-huh.
I love the fact that you don't have to pay.
Yeah, of course.
You are paying.
Yeah.
A lot.
Of course.
So it's like, I don't know, dude. That's a hard one. I'm going to say overrated.
Okay.
But I'm still educating myself on it. But I'm going to say overrated for now.
No, that's fair enough. What else do we have on here? Oh, here's the butter tart. Yeah, and that's the last one from that one. The butter frickin' tart.
Dude, maple syrup. Everything about Canada that like people know Canada for, it's real and it's lovely. And you need to know.
It really, really is. What about Niagara Falls? Overrated, underrated?
Overrated.
Yep.
It's beautiful.
It's a tourist trap, though.
It's just like I went on a rainy, crappy day out, and there were thousands of people to the point where it wasn't even enjoyable. And I've personally seen waterfalls, not as big, obviously, as Niagara Falls, in the middle of nowhere. No one's there, and I had 10 times more fun. You know.
Yep. There was the one thing about Niagara Falls I will say is I forget what is the name of that boat trip you can take, the Maiden of the Mist or something like that. I forget what it is, but it's worth it because they get you right over there. They got to wear a poncho, like you get soaked.
I wanted to do that. I did want to do that.
It's pretty cool, but like we went when the kids were real small on the Canadian side. We had a blast, but it's a total tourist trap. Like you will just spend money out the nose on some of the stupidest shit. I think there was like some odd like house tour that my wife wanted to go on where like the house was like upside down and built on funky angles. And it was just, I don't know if there were some rooms were like optical illusions. It was crazy. And she was so into it. It was absolutely ridiculous. All right. So cool. So now we know overrated, underrated. We know where Becca stands on Canada and kind of what she's dealing with. As far as her opinions are, what are your thoughts? Let's talk fishing, because I've seen some stuff where you've been just killing it. Like you caught a tank with Noelle not that long ago. How you been? Are you getting out and getting on the water at all?
Oh yeah. So especially I had the whole trip in Canada.
Yep.
We fished sunrise to sunset
That's
every
awesome.
single day. Yeah, I've been fishing my heart out, but I'm taking like a week break from
A little
it.
bit of
I'm
a break.
so burnt out right now. Yeah, we went really hard in Canada to the point where like good for at least a week until I pick up a rod.
Yep. It was you were muskie fishing up there, right?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yep.
Awesome.
Dude, it was insane. I just want to edit the video so bad.
I hear you.
I'm so excited to edit.
I'm stoked for that.
excited.
That's going to be so
I'm
good.
happy I like editing. Otherwise, this would really suck. But I am so excited to put the storyline together.
Yep.
You know, because it's going to be sick. I have like the whole vision in my head about how the video is going to turn out. And there's so many ups and downs in this video. It's like absolutely insane. Like without giving stuff away, I think like multiple things went wrong. And somehow we still.
Well,
like,
it is a fishing with Becca video.
Yeah, dude.
You know?
Someone commented on my video and was like, this one person commented like 4 times in like a week on my videos. And they were like, one of the comments was like, me and my girlfriend only watch your videos to make fun of you because of all the dumb stuff you do. And I was like, oh, cool, rad. Well, at least I'm not hiding it.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you're not faking any of it. You show all of it. And that right there that's awesome because it gives, especially somebody who doesn't do this kind of stuff regularly, it gives them some real insight as to like what they're dealing with, you know, what they can do.
I'm just a human being sharing my story with you guys. And if you think I'm dumb, I agree. And that's okay.
On your rooftop tent video,
Yes.
did you get any like overlanders that were like super butthurt about the fact that you were just having fun doing this?
No, and I was shocked that I didn't because I was
Really
like,
awesome.
I'm definitely gonna piss some people off with this.
Yeah.
And honestly, I didn't. I don't think I got any, which was really
Good.
nice because I think I thought it was a wicked good idea.
It was super fun. Absolutely. Although I had my anxiety spike. I was like, she's going to be asleep and roll off that son of a bitch. Like,
See, I didn't think about that until I was like turned the camera off for the night.
Yep.
And I was laying down, and then I thought about it. But I don't move in my sleep.
Oh, there you
Luckily,
go.
like I'm just like a little rock. Like sometimes my if anything moves my feet, like I can have like I
Yep.
move my feet around a lot, but my body just like I was good. That was good. It was a great night of sleep.
that's awesome, man. That's good. That's freaking killer.
Yeah.
What the hell was I going to say with this? Oh, as far as like taking a break from fishing, I totally feel that. This was one
Yeah,
of the multi-species months, and I've been going out 4 days a week to fish every day, every week this month,
Yeah.
and it's just been.
It does, because fishing's not just like oh, let me take a couple casts. Like when I fish, I go so hard to the point where I just like, yeah, I just feel so. I actually am fishing Thursday, so maybe not a full week, but whatever. I need a couple days because I'm just like so burnt out
Yep.
from
Yep.
fishing. It's crazy. You got to work so hard for muskie too. That's the thing. Like I wasn't just
Yeah.
bass fishing.
That's
know?
the whole thing. It's like it's different, and it's funny. Like this month, I have picked up 9 different species,
Yeah, that's
which is
crazy.
the most I've ever caught in one of these tournaments. It's been so unbelievably fun. I started out looking for the stuff that most people scramble for. So looking for a 6-inch panfish, looking for yellow perch, rock bass, stuff like that, and I got hung up. I wasn't able to find a crappie. Now, I don't like crappie fish the proper way. Like, I don't really know or understand where to find crappie or anything like that. But this last weekend, I went out. I needed to find crappie, northern pike, and my trip looking for bowfin was totally fruitless. And carp and catfish were the other 2 that were on there. Didn't get either bowfin, carp, or catfish. I did carp fish on Saturday night with a buddy of mine. I need to do more of that. It was so much fun. I'm actually taking
bass based. Like you could have done it anywhere for the multi.
anywhere in the country. It's nationwide.
Oh, you should have went to that lake in Rhode Island where Todd and I catfish and carp fish. We would have killed it.
I think I'm ultimately going to do that. There's this one body of water near me that I use a lot, and there's a good amount of carp. I see them all the time. Actually, the place you want to talk about, like you said, seeing all these moose and everything. Anytime you see like a large group of animals together, it's almost surreal. you know?
Yeah.
So I had this instance where I was in my kayak and I was down at the south end of this lake fishing some docks. And this is when I was out targeting primarily smallmouth. So I'm like, I'm over there and I'm fishing over by these docks and I look around and I saw like somewhere between like 16 and 20, 25 giant carp, some mirrors, because this is a clear water body.
Like crazy.
Yeah. And they're just like
group up period though.
Yeah. I mean, and I've just never seen that many all around. And I was like, you gotta be kidding. This is wild. Like it was like looking at like the cover artwork of like a fantasy novel, you know, you're like, this isn't real. Come on.
The night that we sailboat camped, Todd and I we literally were watching carp just bang right in front of us.
Yeah. And they breach the water all the time.
Oh, it's so sick. It's so cool.
To see even a small carp, like you're talking like a 10, 15 pound fish.
Oh, I love it.
Like it jumps out of the water and you're like, what the fuck was that? It's
carp
absolutely insane.
Weird. Carp really is like one of those fish that have the wackest personalities ever. Like they just like, I don't even know, dude. They're living their own life, just jumping out of the water.
Oh yeah.
They're great. I love them.
It was wild because I had gone in 3 days. I had fished 4 different trips, and especially on after I finally caught my pike. This was insane. This pike hit my swim bait so hard it cracked the keeper on my tungsten swim bait head. And I was like, oh, this has got to be an absolute hammer. Like, it's a good thing I'm close to the bank. I can take it out, measure it on shore, release it. Everything will be good. I'm thinking this is like a 36-inch plus pike. It was a 15-inch pike.
Dude, they're just so crazy and aggressive.
Yeah.
They're so aggressive. I love pike.
Yeah.
I love pike.
So I think you and I need to plan a trip and just go and maybe do our own little multi-species, like little scavenger hunt. Maybe as a video.
Like there's definitely a bunch of places within like 10 minutes of actually my parents' house that we could catch so many species.
Let's do it.
My crappie spot. I had this amazing crappie spot and they drained it. One of my subscribers messaged me a picture on Instagram and was like, hey, I was about to like fish here. And like, I know you fish here. And it was completely drained. So actually don't have a crappie spot now.
That sucks.
Yeah.
That sucks.
Yep.
It was just kind of nuts for the first time looking at, I'd gotten some intel about this one rock pile. And I was like, I gotta find this. So I flipped my side scan on and I'm coming back from after I catch that pike. And I found the rock pile. I was like, all right, cool. And I could see that it looked like when I switched over to down scan, it just like went over it because it's pretty deep. Yeah. I come over it and I'm like, all right, so there's fish on it. We'll give it a go. And previously when I had seen those carp earlier in the week and I had gotten this intel about this spot, I had thrown a beetle spin. Right?
Yep.
That for me has just been killer for the multi-species, especially the smaller ones.
Underrated.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, beetle spin, underrated. Awesome. I'm glad you said that.
I've begged Guggen for years to make one, and I won't get in trouble for this, but it's in production. It's in production.
Really? That's awesome. That's
finally,
awesome.
Dude. Finally.
So it never got bit when I was out there. And I was like, all right, whatever, it's fine. You know, we had dead calm wind. I mean, the water was totally still when I was there. And I came back the next time. I said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take the jig head off. I'm going to tie it on and put a little float up, maybe like 2 feet in between the jig and the float. And I'll just let it sit.
A float and fly, right?
Yeah, a little float and fly. And I just used the beetle as the bait. I was like, I'll just pop that on. So I give this a rip and I got a couple of taps. The float never went subsurface and it never took off anywhere. I was like, maybe this isn't the move. So I retied the beetle spin and I gave it I did 5 casts. I caught 4 fish.
Dang.
I actually should have entered the first fish that I caught. It was a bluegill that was like a dinner plate. It was the biggest bluegill I've ever seen. And I maybe could have stolen lunker with that. It'd given myself an extra point, but freaking bananas.
Wait, when is it? Have you ever caught a muskie?
I've never caught a muskie.
All right. I have this spot. Not my spot, not taking credit.
Fair enough.
But you know, I was just talking to you about the time I almost hit like 40 moose in a couple of hours.
Yep.
It's easily the sketchiest road I've ever been on in my entire life. It is not a real road. It's a logging road. Lodging road?
Logging road. Yeah, logging road.
It's pretty scary for me. It probably not for you, but I'm an anxious person.
No, it's probably scary for me too. Let's be honest, you're giving me far too much credit.
For Riley, he will probably go 40 the whole drive and whip through these potholes. I don't think I went over 15, which is why it took us 3 hours to get to the spot. Anyways, it's in the middle of absolutely nowhere in Maine. Like, you won't have cell service. Like, I promise there's no cell service. But I can promise you will catch probably like 20 muskie. Like, easily. They're not big, but there's this one pond that Riley knows, and they are overpopulated to the mat. Like, they're just everywhere.
Gotcha.
But it is like the most insane fishing I've ever experienced in my life. And if you want to do it, I'm totally willing to suck it up and go again. Because it was fun.
Because I'll take it super, super easy on those roads with no, like, let's do it. Is there a spot I can launch my yak from?
Yes. Okay. So it's, God, I don't even know how to explain it, but yeah, there definitely is. So basically the spot, no one knows about it. It's like the most, like, I had to beg Riley to let me film there.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
But
is this where you guys caught a muskie and you were like, oh, we're not doing a catch and cook. I can't do it.
Well, apparently they're so overpopulated there. Riley has gone there and seen people like eating the muskie because they want to get them out, and it's insane. Like, that's how overpopulated they are in this place. So
what's funny about Maine is, like, when I went to Moosehead, and I don't know when this started or if it's ongoing or anything like that, but in planning to learn some stuff, I actually joined some fishing groups about Moosehead specifically, just because I had no idea. And it was like, it's so fast. Like, we're fishing it one day and I'm there for a total of 2 nights. So I'm like, all right, I want to make the most of this. I want to learn more about it. And I was going there to target smallmouth. They're my favorite species to catch.
I love them. Don't say that to Riley.
I love largemouth. Well, he's a Maine guy, and that makes sense with what I'm about to say. So there's a kill order in Maine for smallies. And I've seen people post days while they're like, they're catching smallies, and these bass fishermen will go up and fish in the Moosehead area. And like, some of these freaking trout fishermen get so upset, and they're like, oh, you got to throw those on the bank. They're eagle food. Leave them, Yep.
That's how it is with muskie and pike. And it's like, I don't, unless I will get literally legally in trouble for releasing a fish, you won't see me kill a fish. I'm sorry, it's just not gonna happen.
Like, I have a general rule, like, I'll eat whatever fish if it's not gonna make it. Like, I try to, because like, especially in our local waters, like locally, they're very polluted, so I'm not looking to eat those fish. But like, if I'm in an area and it's like, okay, this fish doesn't have a chance, like, it's gut hooked, it's really bad, that fish is gonna be dinner. I'm not going to let it go to waste. But I was
I'm sorry, podcast listeners. Next weekend, not this weekend, like the 4th through the 6th.
Yeah.
The 11th through the 13th. Let me know. That's my last weekend available for the next like month and a half.
Really?
We should just send it and go to that place in Maine.
It's going to be tough. And here's why. So, my family is going to Myrtle Beach in South Carolina. I was initially going to be going then for that week as well. I realized that I can't lose that income. Like, I can't lose that income for that week. It's just like, so I told my wife, I was like, you and the girls, and they're actually bringing my oldest girlfriend with her, and they're bringing Eleanor. So it's going to be all the girls.
Oh, God.
Girls trip. I was like, go have fun, week at the beach. It'll be great. I actually told him, I'm like, I'm just going to send you down my credit card. Have fun.
Yep.
I'm going to stay here and work. Now, actually, ironically, that Friday, the 11th, I have no work. The restaurant where I work out of, they're on vacation for 2 weeks. Great place to work. A 2-week vacation. That's nice.
Oh, yeah.
In the restaurant business, that's really nice. So I'm like, okay, so I have a little bit of time. I'm still going to have Hudson with me.
The dog?
Yeah, I'm still going to have Hudson. I would love to bring him.
Yep.
He's never done anything like this. Like, He's a Boston Terrier. So the camping I'm not concerned with. It's the fishing. I don't know how he would be in the kayak. And I actually, in this episode, this is going to run in, I talk with Sean and Joe because they're dog people too. And they're like, yeah, you might want to start out doing this or, don't even make it a day of fishing. Like get him in the boat and see how it goes. Earlier in the week, I might try it. And if we get lucky and he can hang, I'll do it.
And we don't even have to do a weekend either. And plus, I can only really handle one, 24 hours in this place anyway.
Fair enough. Maybe what we should do is do something a little bit closer. Remember that spot in Vermont I mentioned?
Yeah, we'd also need to do that.
We could do that, and that's only about an hour away from me.
Yeah, I mean the muskie spot's pretty up there, but it's.
Oh, I believe it. I freaking totally believe it. Maybe I can work something out and see if Hudson can stay with somebody.
I think it's the move. I mean, all I got, Riley's down for anything, anytime, anywhere. Obviously, if you can't tell.
Yeah, let me see what I can do. That could be really freaking cool. That could be really freaking cool.
Very fun overnight. I'm telling you, you're gonna catch a muskie.
Oh yeah, I believe it. I 100% believe it. Yeah, there's a lot of shit that's got to go on going into the next week. That I think I might actually be buying the trailer, the utility trailer that I'm going to be building up. Which will be a good thing because my current trailer is not ready for that kind of ascend. Anything, there's no ground clearance. I'm going to beat the hell out of that kayak if I use that trailer. So I could swap it and use that, or I could just rent one. That the U-Haul that I use regularly. Something. Or you
could probably just throw it in the bed of Riley's truck.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I honestly think you would not be happy with the trailer on that road.
Oh yeah.
It's pretty brutal.
We went to Moosehead. I was with Delirious Angler, and we each had a trailer for our kayak. I didn't even realize this at the time, but Delirious has a Tacoma. It's not 4-wheel drive.
Oh, what's the point?
I couldn't believe it. I was like, holy shit, he had no issues. But we stopped up there's a place I think it's called Indian Hill, and it's a grocery store and just all around outfitters in general. There's a full tackle shop in there, a fly shop. There's if you need camping gear, they've got it all. And we went in and we're talking and we were talking to the guys down at the tackle shop, and they were showing us on a map. They're like, where are you thinking about staying? And I was like, this is the cove right here we want to stay. I know that there's a spot there. And they're like, dude, it's like freaking first week of May. This is the mud season. What are you driving? And I had said, I was like, I've got a 4Runner. He's got a Tacoma. And they're like, all right. They're like, you'll probably be okay. But they're like, it can get sketchy. And then when I mentioned we were hauling trailers, they were like, that's something else to be concerned with. We had no issues at all. But the main issue was finding the place.
Oh, yeah.
That was the biggest thing.
Yeah, for sure. That happens. That's a common thing.
Yeah, let me see what I can do with Hudson because he's the biggest concern. There is if we can work it out. I mean, even if we would just went out and camped and didn't fish necessarily, or did a bank send, then awesome. I could do that.
Yeah, there's
easily.
What we did last time was we just because someone stashes a boat there, so all Riley does is just bring his engine, and then we drive across where it is. And then we park it on a bank, and then we walk.
Yep.
So it's like a little bit of a drive, but then we walk the bank.
Yep. So there you go. We'll figure it out. I love it.
I on a Guggen bait there.
Yeah. I remember that. That was freaking nuts. Oh, I love it. Becca, this was awesome. Let me plan and see what I can come up with. We'll figure it out. I think we should carve out that weekend and do some kind of ascend anyway. Get another one on here.
I got the muskie itch, bro.
You got to, yeah, I mean, you just caught a bunch,
Yeah, dude. I'm like, Riley just caught his PB.
PB muskie, huh?
That's how big it was. We got a giant. I'm editing the video, folks. Just wait. It's coming.
All right. I was going to ask you.
I'm only one human.
I was going to ask you the size, but I'll wait for the video.
I'll text you pictures after. It's crazy.
Oh, sweet. I love it. Muskie, man. Fish at 10,000 casts.
Not at this place.
Yeah.
Everyone blow up Bobby's phone so he can come, and we're going to get him a muskie.
We'll see what we can do. I think that would be amazing. Let me see if I can work something out and get Hudson a little sleepover somewhere.
Only one night. We can leave super early in the morning and just send it up.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
I'm willing to overcome my anxiety. I will probably have a panic attack, so but it's fine. I'll live through it.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. And I was actually thinking, I was like, well, we should do like a trip up to Maine anyway, because it's wild. It's wild.
So beautiful
you know?
there.
Yeah.
It's endless opportunities, dude.
Yep.
I'm so into it.
There's a part of me that really wants to go back to that spot where I had camped and bring my wife. And you know, there's stuff that I still need to acquire to do it. Like, she's not going to sleep on the ground. We got to get a couple of cots, and we got to get big ass gazelle tent that I'm looking at. It's like, this thing's enormous. It sleeps like 8.
Well, I think we passed Moosehead to actually get to the spot.
I believe it. Yeah, you're probably right in that area.
We're basically in Canada at this spot.
Yeah.
It's pretty.
We were not far from Canada where we were, so I can assume.
Not at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
Shit, bring your passport. Let's do it.
That's another thing I got to work on, is getting my passport. So before we do, that's what I was going to say. That's what we should do, is schedule a trip, and we'll do Quebec. But we'll take a day.
Yeah, I would love to meet my family too, because we could probably have a spot to just camp even in their driveway or something.
That's
until we
perfect.
Figure the spot out. Yeah, I'm down. They're great.
We go do that, and then we'll go to that restaurant in Montreal, and then we'll plan a west trip, and we'll go out to Denver.
Yes.
We'll go to Colorado, and we'll go to that
have some money
steakhouse.
saved for that stupid restaurant, though.
Hell yeah, baby. Hell yeah. I'll just make
Garden and Grace, I'm coming back for you.
I love it. I love it. Becca, this was absolutely awesome. You have anything coming up that you want to tease a little bit, for future stuff? Give listeners something to look forward to?
Have a new rig coming, but they're building it. Gonna take a while. Might be November, December, might be January. Who knows? And then what month are we in? Are we in August?
August is tomorrow. Starts tomorrow. This is the last day of July.
Okay, we got 2 special guests flying out to Rhode Island to stay with me for a week.
Oh, no shit.
Actually, I don't really care about who's saying it. Remember those Maddie and Amanda in Chicago? Like that girl? Yeah, they're flying out.
Are you serious? That's awesome.
Dude, I'm so jacked. We're going to have some fun. I love them.
That's
they're
great.
like a little family now.
That's the thing that I love about, like, you know, like you're at a point where you're connecting with people all over the place, and you're traveling. So you're making like real connections with folks, which is just awesome.
Oh yeah. I literally slept on their couch. Didn't even know who they were, and I slept on their couch.
That's crazy. Oh yeah. Speaking of crashing, you had a little outing with some Jigs and Bigs fam, Jig heads, in fact. Chris and Sarah Pendergast. How was your stay over there?
Dude, they're so great. I was just having a little bit of a mental breakdown. There was a mini little hurricane coming through. I was trying to make it home, and I was like in like Brunswick, Maine area, kind of like Portland. And I was like, dude, who lives over here? And then I remembered they lived over there, messaged them. I called them on Instagram, and they were just like, yeah, dude, come over, whatever. And I spent the night. Unbelievable people. They made me feel like family. Love them so much. They're so great, dude. So great.
They're absolutely amazing.
A lot of pickles. I have a fridge full of pickles now.
Oh, that's awesome. That's Sarah's gardening ability and ability to make pickles and pasta sauce is unbelievable.
Good folks there.
Yeah, great folks. I'm so happy to know them. They're absolutely wonderful. I'm thinking that Hoodlum Fest is coming up soon. I don't even know the date for it necessarily. I just talked with Joe about going and doing Hoodlum Fest, a little outdoor send, camping, fishing, the whole 9, and I'm hoping that Chris and Sarah make it down for that, because it was a blast last year.
They were talking to me about it. I think they are trying to make it happen.
If you're available, you should crash the party.
Where is it?
It's in Connecticut.
Okay.
It's actually, I don't think it's that far from you. I'm not sure the exact location, but I'll text you and I'll let you know. I'll let you know when I know. Okay. You should crash that son of a bitch.
If I can make it happen, I'll make my way.
Hell yeah. It'll be a good time. It'll be fun.
Yeah.
I love it. You know what we should also do? We should do a caravan, you and myself and Todd. His freaking build is gorgeous.
Dude, I know. I want to see it in person so bad.
I can't believe how good it came out. Like,
yeah, no, it came out like really sick.
I just watched the video.
Doing a video with him soon.
Oh, all right, nice.
You know,
there you go.
sadly, but he'll make time for me again.
I hear what you're saying. Oh, this was awesome, Becca. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Guys, if you're not following Fishing with Becca on YouTube, subscribe to her channel. What are you even doing with your life? Also, make sure to be following her on not only Instagram and Facebook, but also on what is that new platform? I'm such an old man. Threads. That's right. I got to tell you, I'm so messed up now because Twitter changed their icon.
I hate it.
It kind of matches Threads a little bit just because the single line, or like the font is kind of close. It's also black and white. Like, come on, Elon.
They're beefing. That's why.
I kind of like Threads though. I do. I'm happy with it.
I'm actually really into it. So, Fish with Becca. It's literally everything.
Yeah, she's easy to find, guys. Becca, thanks once again. You're the absolute greatest.
Thank you for having me. This is my fourth or fifth time.
I think this might be the fifth.
Yeah, we're killing it.
I think this might be the fifth time you're definitely the guest we have had on the most.
Yeah, that's what
absolutely. I love it. Yeah. I love it, Becca. You have a good one. We'll talk soon, all right?
All right, sounds good. Bye.
Take care.
Peace.
Hi there! We're back.
Welcome, Jigs and Bigs, wrapping the show up. We've been made aware of a situation here in the Jigs and Bigs headquarters. And we're going to wrap this up as quickly as we can because we're decent human beings. Sean, you had something that you wanted to mention in this show, and I'm interested in what this is.
Yeah, this is off fishing topic again because I've been off the water, but I did have a fun little adventure with my oldest son last night. We went out to
that's right.
We went down to Hartford for the AEW live show, which was on TNT. So we were in the fifth row again. We got our third row, excuse me, but we didn't get in front of the camera this time. I had the two in front of the camera seats. And somebody snatched them up before I paid for it. It sucked. They got them before I did. It said tickets have been claimed. I was like, motherfucker. And I had a sign idea too, but whatever. Another time. So we went and checked that out. Now, this is kind of weird, all right? So the owner of AEW Wrestling is a dude named Tony Khan. Tony Khan is the son of Shad Khan, who is the billionaire that was basically fucking making bumpers for every automobile in America for like 2 decades. This guy's got money coming out of his fucking chode, right? So I guess he gave his son money. They do he does the wrestling, and it's his little pet project, trying to go up against WWE, even though those of us from the 80s and 90s will always refer to it as WWF. It is not the World Wildlife Foundation or whatever the fuck it is. So we went out last night, and they did something different. We enjoyed the show that was being taped, but Tony Khan also purchased an independent called Ring of Honor, which was out of originally Philadelphia years ago. And I get the efficiency of this, but the TV was the show was on from 8 to 10. Mm-hmm. The doors opened at 6:30. The Ring of Honor taping started at 7:15 and went till 8 o'clock, right up until the AEW show.
Okay.
Right. Now, again, this is the same company that owns two smaller companies, even though the same wrestlers are going in between the two. It's just bizarre. After the TV went off the air, the guys in the main event had a little fun with the crowd. They were out there talking and bullshitting. Actually, they were eating pizza and drinking tequila, which was funny. And they did that for about 15, 20 minutes. Then they switched the ring back over and went back to the Ring of Honor tapings. They taped for 45 minutes until 11 o'clock or so, right? And my son said, no, I want to stay and watch this. I'm like, all right, whatever. At 11 o'clock, they said, all right, bear with us. We got 5 more matches. I'm like, fuck this. We can't. I'm not doing this. I am too old and I'm not watching this shit. And it's kind of, I'm not going to say an inferior product. It's got some different rules and stuff. They try to make it different, but it's a lot of the same wrestlers. And I'm like, we saw the big stuff. Even my son who loves this shit, he's like, we got to go home. I'm like, yeah, fuck
really?
This. But
all right.
We left at 11. I bet you those people, everyone that stuck around, and most of the crowd had left, I bet you everyone stuck around till midnight in Hartford.
Jesus.
It was very bizarre. Like, we had a blast. The 2 hours of the television.
Was
that
awesome.
Crowd was fucking into it. There was a couple of like really, really good matches. There was I'm getting too old for this shit to be watching people like really get hurt. Wrestling should be like when it was in the 80s. And again, you can tell that I listen to the fucking Jim Cornette shit.
Yep.
Make me believe it's an athletic competition. I don't want to see two guys risk horrible injuries with fucking ladders. Because as Jim Cornette says, you can't work with a ladder. It's just going to hurt you. You can work with another wrestler who can do a move that makes it look like it hurts. If you drop 15 feet onto your back and your head onto a ladder, which I saw last night, like, it's 2023. We know what CTE does.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm cool with a headlock. It's okay. Make it look real, like it's a real headlock and it hurts. And I've suspended my disbelief. Movies are fake too, folks. People go to the movies.
Yeah, exactly.
I get it. We understand. We want to suspend our disbelief. We want to believe that Captain America is fighting Thanos. And I just want to believe that these two dudes hate each other. I know they're probably getting drinks in the back. I don't give a fuck. Sell me on it. It's okay. It's my fucking form of escapism and a lot of other people's too. It's just not as good as it was because now they're really getting hurt. I did not need to see that fucking dude fall like that last night. And I just winced and I'm like, why? You don't need to do that. But whatever. That's all. Joe's got to take a dump. I shouldn't have gone to the wrestling tirade with
whoa
Joe pinching cheeks. Oh, we all know. You're dancing.
Man.
Everybody poops, guys.
Everybody
poops.
They do. Guys, we're going to wrap this sucker up. We have literally, upon the recording of this show, we have 24 hours left in the scavenger hunt tournament series for the month of July. By the time you hear this show, it's going to be over. And next week, we'll have results for you, all the details, things you want to know about, who placed, what's happening. We have some giveaways. Yeah, we got some giveaways. We will see you in 7 days. You guys go ahead and have your best possible weeks. Tag us in your pics with your fishes, and we appreciate when you do. And feel free. Also, remember, follow us on our socials if you're not. I feel like I never say that. But yeah, you guys should follow us on our socials on Instagram and a TikTok. And follow us on Facebook, too, if you use that archaic freaking app. Apparently, there's a number of you that do, and we appreciate that. For Who the Fuck is Joe Brown, Sean the Fisherman, and the entire plumbing system of central Massachusetts, I'm Bobby Roast
all the manatees in Florida.
All the manatees in Florida. Have yourself a great night, folks. And like we always say,
tits and ass, smoke some grass.